Yes, y'all. It's another Saturday night. Therefore, another Saturday night shoot the breeze. I want to thank everyone who is in attendance. Right now, there's no one. But I want to thank everyone who will be in attendance on the panel and in the chat. And especially you guys who do check out the playback. I really appreciate all of you. And all of you who post your topics on the Discord for Shoot the Breeze to be discussed. I appreciate you guys as well. I will say on the channel on the Discord for posting topics, don't respond to topics there because it gets cluttered. It gets cluttered and mistakes start to happen when that occurs. So, have the discussions elsewhere on the Discord, but not in that channel. So again, I thank you guys who post your topics. I thank you guys who are in attendance. I see Oni's out there saying peace. Shout out to Oni. You know what it is. I like to come on earlier, start the show before we get it officially rolling, and give you guys an idea what we have for you guys tonight. We're going to try to answer if mixing is natural, as proclaimed, should it be condoned? That's an interesting question. A similar question tonight is going to be, can one truly be race first in their dating and mating choice in Western countries? So we'll talk about those things back to back. We're going to talk about Baltimore corruption and answer the question, is this a witch hunt too? So that's a hark back to that topic from a few weeks ago, or from last week, I think. We're going to discuss Woody Meyer and his travels, not only his travels, but his words for Caribbean heads of state on what an African continent and Caribbean relationship can look like. We'll talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about this LL Cool J lyric from back in the day. He, she? Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. So those are the things we have in store for you guys. What I'll do right now is start the show officially. And on the other side, I'll welcome all my panelists, as well as drop Shoot the Breeze topic number 1. So do stay tuned.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where Black problems are addressed with Black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Make sure you're also tuned into the forecast, Realm in the Bush, and Brother Bakari as well. And tune into some of the people who are around too, like Daily Affirmations by Pauline, Kofi the Critic, folks like that. All right. In the chat, I see we got the Harsh Rally Podcast. That's D Web saying peace. Hope you're well. D Web, Trigger Happy's out there saying peace. Anthony McPhail is out there saying peace to the panel of chat. Appreciate you all for being here. My first panelist tonight is from the pro-black perspective. Is Oni. Oni, how are you this week?
Yeah, shit. No, I'm joking. I'm cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through as always. It's just me and you for now. I guess other folks on that color people time or Korean time. So we'll start off together. We're gonna go right into it. Shoot the breeze topic number 1 tonight. One of these long-winded prompts. Mixing is natural as proclaimed in the video. Should it then be condoned? Why do some major Pan-Africanists not go far enough when it comes to the topic of miscegenation or hint at an endorsement of miscegenation? Before we get into it, let's welcome in Buana this week. Buana, how are you this week?
My good brothers, I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for coming through.
Good, man. Good.
Yeah.
PSP.
So we're gonna get right into it. Should read topic number 1. This came with a link. Let me share my screen with you guys. So it's taking us to a tweet from Great House. We discussed Great House recently on Shoot the Breeze. It said, 20th century, white South Africans were amongst the poorest group of people in the world. White poverty in South Africa so greatly alarmed the white elite across the globe who couldn't reconcile their ideas of white racial superiority with white destitution in South Africa. The Carnegie Institute of America was commissioned to study the issue of white poverty. According to a memorandum sent to Frederick Keppel, the president of the Carnegie Institute, quote, there was little doubt that if the Bantu were given full economic opportunity, the more competent would outstrip the less competent whites. Keppel, a bona fide white supremacist and segregationist himself, suggested that unless something was done to help poor whites, quote, racial deterioration and miscegenation would be the outcome, and a similar fate awaited poor whites in the American South. One American official visitor to Grahamstown in South Africa wrote that, quote, miscellaneous herds of whites and blacks live together in the most promiscuous manner imaginable. The report expressed fear for the loss of, quote unquote, white racial pride and the dangers of whites not being able to resist the process of, quote unquote, Bantuization. To solve the problem, the Carnegie Institute recommended the creation of employment sanctuaries for whites in which blacks couldn't compete, the replacement of all black skilled workers with white workers, and of course, racial segregation. This report provides the blueprint for the apartheid system in South Africa. Now, this print is kind of, well, I guess I could blow it up, but Great House goes on to say, I will maintain that black poverty is artificially engineered by white elites to preserve white racial superiority. Let me see if I could make this print a little bit better. It's not great. And I guess this is just, I guess what Great House says here is just a summary of what's in this report. So I'm not going to read the report verbatim, but this is a post from Great House. This prompt also comes with the video. Let me share that with you guys. We'll watch it and then we'll discuss.
The first settlers who came to Kenya, for instance, the Bazungu were brought from Ireland and Scotland and England and settled in the highlands. The same year they were brought, 1910, 1909, they found they would take them over into the countryside, dump them there, they give them resources, and they start building. This is what they were doing in that time, because they had already pacified the Kikuyu and the Maasai, and even us here. But what happened was that the Bazungu they brought, the whites who were brought there, within weeks, were already speaking Swahili. Not only that, they began dressing like Maasai. Not only that, they stopped building and went and stayed with the Maasai in the kraals. So now there was an incident where they would say there's a market day in Nairobi, and the Africans would come to shop, and they would come with their white wives and white husbands, and everybody is dressed the same. So the British administrators were shocked, and they said, these people have become native. So they filed a complaint, and that's when they passed a rule in 1911 prohibiting miscegenation. That is, no cultural mixing, no racial mixing. Had that law not been passed, the whites who came here would have now been assimilated. They would all be called KWAZ or I don't know, Mukasa, you know. The situation where whites continue to exist as a separate race of people in Africa is a product of legislation. It's not a natural situation. There is no way to enforce that. The only way to prevent people from marrying each other is by force, by this law. That's how the enforcement happened. But in fact, if they had not done that, even the colonial project would have failed. I mean, they went into Kenya and they found people already pierced with their ears and their Maasai, and they're like, oh, no, we're not from, England, very nice, but we're now from here. That's it. Don't bother us. And they said no. So they actually had to go break people's families up and warn them and stop them from mixing. So the thing is this, that European control has happened through a fluke of corruption and of going against human nature, of doing things that are against the normal instinct of a human being. So, but that's not sustainable. European control will end, and what will happen, what will replace it is normal trade, fair trade. You do something for me nicely, I pay you. If we are friends, maybe our children will stay together, maybe not, but there is none of that. I control you and you're my subject and I can steal from you anytime. That has to end. So we have gotten to a point where the system is now very transparent in terms of how you see things. But corruption is what's being used here. Now, the fastest way for Africans to break the yoke of this corruption is to have standard rules all across the continent. That means they cannot use one African state against others, which means we need to have a unified Africa. So the African Union is the way forward. Already in 2016, they introduced an African passport. You know that some people have them here. There's East African passport. There's also African Union passport. So basically, if you have African Union passport, you can travel to any part of Africa without any kind of restrictions. You just have to show your passport and you can cross the border. There's no visa requirements. There's no payments. You just go. But that needs to happen more. It needs to happen more. We need to have a single currency. We need to have a single army. We need to have procurement systems where if somebody wants to buy, say, a piece of equipment, they have to put the tender on an African Union site so that Africans can sell them these things instead of going to Europe first. So before you can sell your vegetables abroad, let the African who's your neighbor have first choice. If he fails to buy, then you can sell it abroad. This is the system, but we don't have that system now because each one of the 55 African states in the African Union has a different procurement system. And when they're doing tenders, they're put on maybe one website here, or they do it in the newspaper. So if you're not actually here, you can't do anything. You know, a European can come or a Chinese person and get a tender to construct a road, but a road construction company in Kigali or in Nairobi or in Tanzania or in Egypt won't get that contract. And that contract would be cheaper for them if it was available. And the quality of work would be the same. So what's failing us now is that we're not integrated. We need to integrate our economies so that we can save these kinds of, we can save funds and save time and effort and energy and allow us to grow our companies and corporations. So that's what we need to do. We need to have unity and integration. But it's coming. It's coming. They're mixing now the electrical grid all across Africa. It's being connected. I think when you're driving here, you may have seen very massive poles. Those ones go all the way to South Africa. Huge, gigantic poles of wires. And they're going to be connecting with Inga Dam in the Congo, which is going to be the largest dam in Africa, electric generating dam. So once they do that and the electricity becomes cheaper than it is now, it will be very easy to set up light industry in Africa. Anybody could go and start a manufacturing farm. Because, you know, when electricity was expensive in the 80s in Uganda, nobody could make doors. This fabrication industry, it's only come about because of electric power. And electric power in Kampala and Kasese are cheap. That's where the fabrication is. The town centers where power is available. But if it became cheaper, people would leave the city centers and they would go outside. Yeah. So you know, that's how we break the control. We break it through having an economy that's viable, and by having an economy that's rational and advantageous to us. And the only way to do that is to integrate Africa economically and politically and financially and in every other way, and militarily as well. We need to have one single army under the control of the African Union.
Yeah, I had to stop that quick. They give me a strike every time that theme music plays. Should be topic number one. Mixing is natural, as proclaimed in the video. Should it then be condoned? Why do some major Pan-Africanists not go far enough when it comes to the topic of miscegenation or hint at an endorsement of it? Let me start with Buana. Buana, what say you to this?
Well, for the person who write this, the first thing I would ask is, why do you put it on? Why does this person put it on Pan-Africanists? They have black pan-Eurocentrics who believe in miscegenation. First and foremost, they're big advocates of it. They have no compunction in regards to miscegenation, called integration. But why are you directing it to the Pan-Africanists? The Pan-Africanists don't have as much power as the pan-Eurocentrics, who in political office, government office, and all kind of offices. They are proponents of these. Why you can go to Pan-Africans? But needless to say, the major Pan-Africans, the major Pan-Africans who I remember, Marcus Garvey, you know, back in the day, spoke out against miscegenation. He talked about it. He talked about it thoroughly, you know. Then you have Dr. Umar Johnson today. I guess he's a major Pan-Africanist. He's going around talking about not dating snow bunnies. So I don't. Which major Pan-Africans are you talking about specifically when you say the major Pan-Africanists haven't gone far enough? Because on many panels I see Dr. Umar Johnson speaking out against miscegenation. Then you have Carlos Cooks, you know, Carlos Cooks, who was talking against miscegenation as well. So I mean, I don't know why this is directed at Pan-Africanists first and foremost. But let me say this. In regards to miscegenation is a tool that was used, that is currently used, and has been used in the past. In our so-called third world countries when it comes to whitening. You know, they create these mulatto classes of people, and it's through the mulatto classes they oppress the so-called black masses. Not only that, you have buffer classes in the United States. It was primarily created by the so-called white power structure. And in return, they use the mulatto class to suppress black people. Because they are useful sometimes in some regards. The Chinese are currently using miscegenation in Africa, where you have a bunch of Chinese going to Africa and having sex with black women, African women, and their children. Their children will be used to suppress the black people inside their nation. Now I'm asking, just a question. That's a question. Is it possible that black people can use the same kinds of miscegenation in reverse? Is that a possibility? Because a black man and a white woman, if I propagate that, well, let me not say this. Can that tool be used specifically where black people creating buffer classes against our enemies as well? Since it's been used against us, is that a possibility? I don't know. I don't know. Outside of the boundaries of just this is who I love and all these other things, can that specific thing be useful for us as well in reverse since it's been done so effectively against us? I don't know the answer to that question. Me personally, on a personal level, I've never ever dated someone who was not black. It hasn't been brought up in my life, and I've lived in many European countries. It's never happened to me, so I'm not an expert in the subject. I'm not an expert in the subject. I may be Koku or Oni is, but I've never dated a white person or a Chinese person. You know? So I guess I have to defer to the experts on this. Maybe they may know better than me, but I'll leave it there for now, Koku.
I'm no expert in that. But I'm curious, Buana, what does this reverse miscegenation look like? Like, what does it look like, and what does it accomplish?
For instance, just as the mulattoes were put in specific positions and roles in our countries and many so-called third world countries, places of influence, like you say, Dominican Republic was one of these things where they put a so-called a man who physically he looked like a black and a white man, but he was really the president of that society. And through him, he instituted policies of whitening kinds of ideas into Dominican Republic, where you see even people who black as the midnight now say, I know black, I know black. The whole policy was created under these kinds of characters. And if you go into Haiti, they had their not petit blanc, but their mulatto class as well. And in other societies, I'm saying that buffer classes have been created, and they create policies where they create a buffer between the so-called uh, mercantile classes of white folks and the so-called suffering masses of black people. That's been created and instituted before in many of our societies. What would that look like with us? I don't know. I my thinking it may come to adoption. It may come to adoption. What if a black woman decides to adopt a bunch of white boys and rear them and raise them as Pan Africanists or Afrocentrics? When they get into office, what are they going to do? When they get into positions of power or influence, what are they going to do? Because this is what other groups of people have done to our society. I'm just asking the question. That's to me, that's how that looks. To me, that's how that looks. That's how that looks. And let me say this too. I met a girl before. I met a girl before in the UK, and she told me, she said, Buana, she said my daddy is Jamaican and all. Now, physically, if you look at this girl, you would never be able to tell this girl was a black woman. She was, I don't know if she was passing or what, you know? And I'm thinking like that. If a person with the right kind of mindset who are able to get into certain spaces and places that we can't, they may be able to do certain things for people who look just like me. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm seeing that it has been useful in the past before, and it's possible that it could be used as a tool. So I don't remove nothing off the table when it comes to our liberation. Me, I am not an advocate of it because I've not practiced it in my life personally. But I'm saying that if that tool is useful to others, why can't it be useful to us? Why can't it be useful? That's what I'm asking the question.
Okay, all right. No, I just was curious as to, in your hypothetical, if you thought it through of what it looks like and what it really accomplishes. So look, we'll throw it
There are
over to
many.
Oni.
Look, one quick. There are many people in the United States who was passing in the United States, and because they was able to pass, they was able to allow certain things to happen within their society. But like I said, I let Oni go. I let Oni go.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we have to be honest. Yeah, mixing is obviously. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So mixing is obviously pretty natural. I'll say that. Natural in the sense of, the thing that we don't realize. I'll put it this way. One of the troubles that we have as a people is that we don't take into account that we are these, these beings of chemistry, you know? Um, like for instance, I homeschool my kid, right? But even I'm saying to myself, you know what? He's at that age, or he's coming to that age where I can't homeschool him. Not because I can't teach him or I can't do this. No, no, no. I could teach him. The trouble is this boy is eventually going to have hormones. You get what I'm saying? And he's eventually going to be attracted to, like, he's eventually gonna want to have sex with women. You know, uh, not now, no, but you have to be realistic that human beings have hormones. And so the thing that we get attracted to, and if you're being honest, we might get attracted to anything, but really the thing that we get attracted to is going to be the woman of the opposite sex, the woman of proximity, right? And if the woman of proximity is, um, like, if the woman of proximity isn't, let's say, like, yeah, if you don't give this child a good example of a woman of proximity, he's probably gonna go, not just he or she, but yeah, no, he or she are going to go to. All right, sorry for he. Let me let me focus. We must stay focused, brothers. All right, he is going to go to the woman of proximity. He's going to go to the bad woman of proximity. The same with a woman, a young girl. If she can't find a good man of proximity, she's going to go to a bad man of proximity. And a large part of our society is trying to discourage people from exploring this part of their psychology, their physiology, right? A large part of our society is trying to get people to not explore this part of their physiology, and that's okay, but it's fruitless. If a young boy surrounded by white girls, right, is going to want one of those white girls. If not, if he can't find a good white girl, right, he might go for, there's no black girls around, he might go for an older black woman. If he can't find an older black woman or an older white woman, right, help me. I don't know. I mean, because the reality is that when it's like when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. You know what I mean? And that's the trouble. White people probably have it worse, obviously. White women would go and mess with horses and shit. They can't find a good man, they go to horses. But the reality is this, that what like we don't have it as bad as them, but we have hormones too. Right? So yeah, if you are, and that's the thing about attraction or whatever, a lot of it is guided by proximity. So, shout out to Buana. He never looked at no white girl. I'm not gonna say I looked at a white girl, but what I could say is this: that I might have had crushes on other races at one point. You know what I mean? Like when I went to grad school, all like where I lived. I was telling somebody today where I lived in the cheap dorms, and that's where all the foreign Chinese students were. And sure enough, at that point in my life, I was considering the Chinese girl. I didn't go to her, but she's looking at me, smiling and joking and sitting next to me in the bus, and I'm smiling back. I guess I mean I never sealed the deal. I never closed but back then I wasn't really good with women generally, so that's I didn't close the door on anybody. Like I didn't seal the deal on anybody. But my point being that yeah, when you have proximity, you do develop an attraction for the other people. That said, going to the question at hand that Trigger Happy saying is like, should you legislate against it? It depends. Realistically, the people you should try to not be misogynist are the ruling class. Okay? Realistically, I think black people, and this is one of the things I'm trying to emphasize in my next book. I think we as black people do not take into account that there are two different classes. There's the ruling class and the ruled class. Nobody gives a shit about the ruled class. I mean, obviously you want some control among the people in the lower echelon, but the reality is that, like hyper policing them or or whatever is not really going to be efficient. Because even as we talk about, oh yeah, you know, they outlawed miscegenation. You think there's no mixed people in Kenya after that? You think there's no mixed people in Tanzania? You think there's no mixed people in America where it was outlawed for how long? Like you got Malcolm X rising up to the top of the thing, and he was telling you guys, like, and this guy, you know, had orange hair or some shit like that, red hair, you know. But he's telling you all the reason why you got so many different complexions because yeah, that, you know, was outlawed on paper, but it was going on. Matter of fact, Garvey was talking about how these white boys was attacking black women. White boys still attacking black women to this day. So it's very unrealistic. What, you know, I think that you should definitely discourage it. And you discourage it, especially among the, you know, the ruling class, the ruling elite. And that's something that we haven't done. That's something that we should do, and that's something that Garvey did. Okay, Garvey was like, look, if you're trying to be in my organization, you got to have a black woman. If you're a black man in my organization, you have to have a black woman. If you're a black woman in my organization, you're trying to be an officer or something, you got to have a black man. That's the truth. Okay? But if you're talking about, you know, it's like I was thinking about the other day, the Appalachians. Nobody gives a shit what the Appalachians do. You know, nobody in America gives a shit what the Appalachians do. Because like who gives a fuck? But they're not in any. It's really about what we have to start focusing on, because people don't like that word elite. People don't like the word ruling class. I realized, you know, I asked ChatGPT, blah blah blah, and it's like, use the word decision maker. It's really about this. The decision makers, are they BH bunny hoppers? Are they BWs bed wenches? Okay, that's it. If they're BHs or BWs, then they should not be decision makers. They can go do their BH, they could go do their BW, but they shouldn't be decision makers. And that's really something that we could easily implement. But as far as stopping everybody, every African from, you know, mixing with other people, you could try, but you can't. You know, like realistically, you know, like I said, I'm going to grad school just minding my business. And I had a black consciousness, you know, and of course I never even moved in on this, you know, Chinese girl or whatever, you know. But even with, you know, even with black consciousness, you're gonna like, and you can't, you know, like if you have no other options, you'll really start thinking to yourself, okay, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, you could fight through it, but it's a fight. There's a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters, a lot of people that we see are bed wenches and bunny hoppers. A lot of them, in fact, somebody even said a lot of them really do want black partners. They just can't find good ones. And I'm not saying you can find a good white partner, but a lot of these people try to find a good black partner, and a lot of these people got burned. You know, now how they react to it, how they respond to it is kind of immature. You know, stick with your black partner. But the reality is that a lot of people are going to have trouble finding good partners generally. You know, even, and I'll tell you this just to finish. If I were to, like, I can't even recommend good men to some women I know. I can't even do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Only before you go, though, I would like you to respond to what Buano was saying about reverse miscegenation. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Trigger said it. You have to be the more powerful party. You know what I mean? Like, I think what Buano is talking about makes sense if we had the power. You know, if you had the power, you could try to use miscegenation to root out, you know, other people. But you on the losing side at the moment. You know what I mean? Like when you're on the losing side, you know, it's kind of like, because that's a thought that does occur. You know, it's like, I can't remember. There was like a quote. I think it was Machiavelli. He said something along the lines of, you know, what do you do with somebody who's like a traitor to the enemy side? You know, like you can't trust somebody who betrayed their own people, right? But at the same time, the other people can't trust them because they betrayed their own people. So it's like you could use somebody else. You could use, like, the English could use the French. You know, they can't trust the French guy, right? And the French are not going to trust the French guy, but the English could use the French. Yeah, you could use somebody from the opposing army if you happen to have the organization in place for it. A lot of black folk do not have the organization in place for it. Most black people do not have the organization in place for it. So it's just kind of like a moot question. You know, the trouble with us as a people is that generally speaking, we are not in organizations. We are, you know, Marcus Garvey said the greatest weapon against the Negro is disorganization, right? Or misorganization, disorganization, right? And that's the reality. If you're not in an organization, you really can't do shit anyway. You really can't do shit anyway. So I don't know why you would think you sleeping with a white woman is going to do something great. You just destroying your own bloodline. And yeah, how's reality is right? I was trying to get some fried chicken. I ain't gonna hold you. Nah, I'm joking. This was grad school. I think she was a physicist or something. I don't know if she was a physicist though, but she was like, she ain't know her way around the kitchen. But anyway, but yeah, that's it. Like yeah, if we organize, like when you organize, you could pretty much use anyone. You could use white people. You know what I mean? The Mau Mau Revolution, like we talking about Kenya, the Mau Mau revolutionaries, they didn't make guns. They bought the guns from white folk. You could buy guns to kill white folk from white folk if you organize. But if you're not organized, you know, you can't do shit. You know, that's all I'll say.
Bonnie, you have any last thoughts on this prompt?
No, sir. No, sir. I kind of lost it. My thoughts on it. But I would say that I understand that sex is a big motivator when it comes to our issues. It's a huge motivator. But I think that as far as us as Pan Africanists and us as Garveyites go, I think that we have issues outside of, you know, the whole sexual experience. Even though sex is a great motivator, I think that there are other things that's great motivators as well. But if it's an issue to talk about, you know, we got to talk about it. And the truth is, you do see a lot of black folks, black leaders, black leadership, having relationships with the other, you know, having relationships, long engaged relationship with white women, as a matter of fact. So it's a topic to talk about, you know. So I respect that. I respect it. But I'll leave it there.
I appreciate it. Bonnie sounds like he's at RM Billy Park or something like that.
No, they having a party next
appreciate you
door.
guys.
Next door. Yeah.
I appreciate those comments. I really appreciate the comments in the chat. Shout out to KW Don 7 who's out there. Shout out to D Web, Trigger Happy, and anyone else who commented on that prompt. Oh yeah, shout out to Daily Affirmation by Pauline who's here with us. So shout out to all of you. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2, also a long one, says, let me put a twist to frequently asked question. Can one truly be race first in their dating and mating choice in Western countries? How can it be expected that black people overall won't interracially date when the trajectory is assimilation for black people in the West? Can we truly be race first? Can one truly be race first in their dating and mating choice in Western countries is basically what that prompt is asking. This came with a link. I thought there would be more to this link, but it takes us to Chez Sade. I thought it was a video involved. It just says, can you be pro-black and date outside your race? What do you think? So I guess I'm supposed to go through the comments or something. One guy says, Alice Walker, Maya Angelou, Angela Davis, all married and dated white men. They are pro-black, so I guess. Someone says 99% of being pro-black is dick policing black men and pandering to black women. The answer is hell no. That's an interesting comment. One guy here says, yep. Someone says, this question has gotten way too repetitive. No, you cannot. This guy, Professor Malcolm Xavier, says, you love black folks so much that you actively choose not to share your most precious assets with one. Lineage, money, home, net worth, and love. Fuck out of here. Nope. One last one I'll read. It says, this guy, Alex the Great, says, no, the truth of the matter is everyone ain't got to be pro-black. Like, it's a very niche category with a lot of prerequisites, and there's no shame in not fitting the label. You don't have to be pro-black to support and positively impact the community. But that's my opinion. Yeah, I don't like those types of opinions, but that's just me. Let me get Buana. What are your thoughts on this question?
And my answer to that is no. And my answer to that is no because, like you say, if you're a pro-black person, you pro-self. If you're a black person, you pro-self. Because I guess there's a lot of white people out there. Some white folks are pro-black. Let me, that's true. Some white folks are pro-black. I'm gonna get back to that. But you know, and most black folks are pro-white. They're pro-European. This question never really comes up in terms of pro-whiteness. When they questioning black people, it's always the question of you pro-black or why aren't you doing these things? No one questions the fact that black people buy European clothing, buy European food, buy European everything, everything, everything has its antithesis via the white economy, white establishment, white whatever. And when you deviate from that, these questions come up. You can't be pro-black. You can't be pro. Well, what if I want to buy primarily black-made products, or just deal financially and economically on a level where I just dealing within my community, as other groups do? Then I get the question of, oh, you pro-black, you ain't doing this. I mean, it's like, give me a break. Give black people a break sometimes. What we could get away with in the Western world, we try to get away with. Do I believe that you practicing pro-blackness if you have a white wife? Of course not. Of course not. But they so rigid. These people they're very. I don't practice. I don't like white women. But there are some aspects of my life I do practice pro-whiteness, and what I could get away from, I try to get away from. Why? I live in the Western world. Almost 70 to 80% of the products that I consume and use on a daily basis, some white corporation is producing it and making it. So is that me practicing pro-whiteness? Of course it is. But I am forced to do it. Where I could get away from it, I try to get away from that. I try to get away from that because I'm a conscious consumer, and to some degree, I'm a conscious person about the things that I do. But Bakari say, buy black business. I've been doing that. But this is an issue that's brought up, I feel, primarily when with blacks. Sometimes blacks like to point their moral finger at others and say, well, you ain't pro-black because you ain't doing this specific thing over here. Now I do agree where when it comes to dating white women and you proclaim that you're a pro-black person, that's antithetical to what your cause is. But I say what you could get away with, try to get away with, and be pro-black in regards to other things. And in your relationships, you do have a conscious decision. So you can't say, well, you're a pretty lady, you have a nice shape, but I choose to date this sister over here. That's a part of my principles. But I feel like sometimes we point the finger at one another a whole lot with this morality bashing. You live in the Western world. You live in the Western world, and unless you live in Africa, and even Africa are high consumers of European products and systems and economy. Are they practicing pro-whiteness? Of course they are, because they have not developed strong industries yet where they could deviate and go away from that. So this is our work right now, currently. I feel like sometimes we point the moral finger at each other a whole lot, but But to answer this question, no, you can't be a pro-black person if you're making choices with primarily white women. Just to answer that question, I'll leave it.
Yeah, because for a second there, Buana, I wasn't too sure what your response was. But I echo your last thoughts. I don't think. See, things like feelings. A lot of black people try to pull this little stunt. Things like feelings is really about priority. They pretend like it's something other. It's something almost supernatural. It just hit me, and I have to follow along. No. It's priority. If you like big women, right? You're gonna choose a big woman. It's just what it is. You like small, you're gonna choose small, but you ain't gonna just go choose a man all of a sudden. You You know what I'm saying? So I think we got someone has some noise coming through. I think we gotta be real about this stuff and say, hey man, we gotta focus on us. We gotta choose, black partners to produce black children. If we want to ever have strong black nations, et cetera, et cetera. And partially that's my response to the first prompt too, is that I get all that proximity stuff. I went to school. I went to college with a fairly good number of Jewish students were there. I ain't choosing no Jewish woman to get with. I don't care how much you smile at me. So I think we have to learn priorities racially, and I'll leave it at that. Let's welcome some new panelists. Let's start with Anthony. Anthony, how are you tonight?
I'm having a problem. I can't hear you.
We can hear you,
Hello?
but you can't.
Hey,
Yes,
y'all can
sir.
hear me, bro? I
Yes.
can't, because I can hardly hear you, man.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Anthony. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, damn. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if it's mine. Okay. Yeah, man.
Is your earphones in all the way?
Huh?
Is
Yeah,
your
I got
earphones
it
in
up.
all the way?
Yeah, I got it
Okay.
up. I'm trying to see if what I'm did wrong.
Well, you coming through loud and clear though.
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I can barely hear y'all, man. But,
Go out and come back in, Anthony. Go out and come back in, brother.
okay. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Bonner. In the meantime, let's welcome in our boy Black Steel this week. Black Steel, how are you?
I'm doing good, everybody. A little tired, but I'm still hanging in there tonight.
Thanks.
How you guys? So I looked at the prompt. So yeah, I believe you can be race first in your mating and dating choices. I do, because I think it's a deliberate choice. I think we choose. I mean, I don't get the whole thing. We just happen to fall in love. One thing, you got to be in proximity with the people of another race. You got to, because of our history, because of our oppression and what we've experienced as African people. I don't. There's a lot that has to go with that whole interracial dating thing. I really don't like to talk about it, because I'm going to be honest with you. I've never dated outside my race, but I will say this: there are people who have dated outside their race, and yet they remain loyal to their race. And one thing I'll say is that, especially with white people, they've always been managed. You have white racists who will have sex with black women, but yet they'll still remain loyal to their race. We don't really question, these white men who were out here. What was the one cracker? Strom Thurmond, who was like a senator in the U.S., and he was, a racist and white supremacist, and he was in a Klan, and he had a half-black child. But yet, we didn't question his loyalty to the white race. But at the same time, I think black people should want to reproduce with other black people. We should love each other. We should want to see our families grow. I get tired of seeing all these little mixed kids and the little, it's just something that I want to see black people love each other. And I believe that's a revolutionary thing, because we've been taught to hate each other for so long. I think that a black man who is pro-black, or a black woman who is a woman who wants to be African-centered, race first, would seek out a black man to reproduce with. I think that should be a main priority. I want my grandchildren to look like me. I want my great-grandchildren to look at me. I want them to look up at a picture of me and not say, "Daddy, who's this Negro? Who's that black guy?" That's your great-granddaddy, because further on down the line, we mix so much, we're not even black anymore. Look at Eartha Kitt's grandchildren. They don't look black. They've mixed so much. They're fucking blonde hair, blue eyes. I don't want that for my future generations. I want them to be black. I want them to be proudly black. There's no shame in it. And I think a lot of times we have this interracial discussion, there's a lot of dynamics that go along with that. Black people live in an anti-black world that teaches us to hate ourselves. You know, the European woman is still the standard of beauty for many people. And many black men and black women, you know, feel like they haven't made it until a white person has chosen them. There was this one chick, she used to be online. She used to have an online show called I think it's called The Grapevine. Beautiful sister, natural hair, beautiful skin, big titties, the whole nine, okay? She said she had never, no one had ever called her beautiful until a white man said it. Now, me being the person I am, I knew that was bullshit. But what I realized is that it didn't count until a white person said it. And that's the mentality a lot of African people have. If a white person doesn't say I'm attractive, it doesn't count. If a white person doesn't desire me, I'm not desired. There's not that much bunny hopping in the world, especially in the United States. We're mostly segregated. Even in school, most of the black people hang out with other black people. You really got to go out your way to be out here, you know, up under some white person's nuts. And they really don't want to build no long-term relationship. They want to smash, they have a little black fetish, and they're on. I think that we need to really understand the dynamics and the background behind these interracial relationships. There's no way in the world I would want my child to be with a white man, knowing the shit white men have done to us throughout history. There's just no fucking way. So, for my answer, long story short, black people should definitely be with other black people. They should engage with other black people to build families and relationships. I'm done. Thanks.
Black Seal, I appreciate that response too, because it's true. Something you said just at the end, it's really true. Like my experience in the States with colleges and stuff like that, university, really and truly, black folks really hang around black folks. Let's be real about that too. Black folks really, the minorities really find one another. You know, you have the Caribbean Student Union, you have the Black Student Union, and that's really where most black folks kind of hang their hats. I appreciate that. Something else you said too reminded me of what Buana said about morality. I think black folks should look more morality. I don't think there's a problem because I think we should have a standard. What is my act? Isn't my act a standard of living? So why shouldn't we have a standard of living? And we should also, like Black Steel alluded to, we should also want to be examples for future generations to show our future selves, our children and grandchildren that, yo, like, you choose a black woman. You're a girl, you choose a black man, you know? So I think that is very important to set an example and to be a standard as well. Let's see if Anthony got his sound together. Anthony, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Hey man, peace to everybody, man. Glad to be back on the show. Last week I was partying a little bit too hard. But
okay.
it was my birthday. Man, I was
happy birthday, Anthony. Yes, happy birthday, brother.
Hey man, I was so full of that vodka, man. I thought they were gonna put me in the trauma unit, man.
That's how you party. That's how you party.
Yeah, I partied, man. But yeah, man, this on the prom, man. I think, you know what, I use the perfect example. When Buana was talking about can we use it to when you said how you as a reverse weapon, you know how they use it, can we use it against them? You know what I think about, I mean, it depends on the circumstance. Like you in America where it's like, you know, they 70% of the population, it ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? But because I'll give you a perfect example. Patrick Mahomes, you know, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Now his dad was a baseball player. His dad is as black as any one of those, dark-skinned brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now he married a white woman and they had a son, Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes grew up, he wanted a woman, you know, because most boys, young men want a woman that what kind of like their mother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so what he chose? He went after the white woman. You know what I'm saying? His wife is a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Because he identified, you know, with his mother. And so I'm saying, and eventually the Mahomes, you're gonna look around one day, the Mahomes gonna be white. All of them, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be no black Mahomes with the curly hair and the light brown skin. Ain't gonna be none of that. But I mean, I just think that, like, you know, interracial relationships in a like I said, with the power dynamic here, because like the brother said, you know, we on the less powerful end, they on the more powerful end. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they use miscegenation to try to destroy black people in Brazil. You know, and all over the hemisphere where they had a whitenization, program. So I mean, it can't really work. I don't think that could work in a society where, you know, the majority of the people white, or, you know, what a majority, what a black people don't have power, like in Brazil. You know, they about 50% of the population are over, but they don't have no political organization. You know what I'm saying? I mean, very little political organization, and then they've been indoctrinated so bad, as much as we have, that, you know, they think white is right is right. You know, and they got all kind of designation for black people in Brazil. But and then the other thing, I think, you know, like what the problem was about. Can you say the problem again? I wanted to make sure I had it 100% right.
Yeah, should be topic number 2 says, let me put a twist to frequently asked question. Can one truly be race first in their dating and mating choice in Western countries? How can it be expected that black people overall won't interracially date when the trajectory is assimilation for black people in the West? So that is it's good that you asked that question, because the prompt is very specific about in the West. So go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah. Okay, and see, that automatically takes me to brothers like what is his name? The brother, I think he was from Trinidad. The Pan-Africanist, the brother who wrote the book Black Jacobins.
Oh, C.L.R. James.
C.L.R. James, or him, and I think another Pan-Africanist brother, George Padmore. You know, I think he was from Trinidad too. You know, he's
from Trinidad. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he was a big Pan-Africanist one. You know, I mean, I love his work, man. But it was George Padmore, C.L.R. James. I'm thinking A. Sylvester Williams too, and Frantz Fanon, and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now, the people who are always trying to nitpick at Pan-Africanism, and they will always bring them up. Why? Because they Pan-Africanists and they all marry white women. You know what I'm saying? White women. Well, you know, Dr. Nkrumah married Arab woman.
And Frederick Douglass married a white woman too?
Yeah. I mean, hey, look here. You know what? I got into it with Dr. Omar Johnson. I mean, I was just asking him, I said, man, well, how are you going to say Frederick Douglass is the greatest black leader ever in America when this man married a white woman? And this man encouraged black people to assimilate with white people. I mean, I don't, and you the prince of Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? That didn't make no sense to me. I mean, when you got Martin Robertson Delaney right there, I think that should be your hero. But I'm just like, no, man, you can't. I mean, in my opinion, just to me, I mean, you can't talk that black shit, man, and be laying up with white women. You can't do that. I mean, you know, Frantz Fanon, that white man, I think it was black skin, white man, or vice versa. You know, he talked about it, and you know, about double consciousness and all that. You know, the struggle that we had to go with living in the Western world, in the Western society dominated by them. But yeah, I mean, to me, it confuses people, man. When you know, if you seen Dr. Omar Johnson next week with some old white bitch, you know what I'm saying? Well, you'll be like, man, what the hell? You know, I mean, it makes everybody who believe in Pan-Africanism or black unity, it makes us look, stupid. You know, because the naysayers go always. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off, Anthony, but this is to all your brothers. Can I be pro-black and have white customers, or have a product and sell also to white customers? That's a question I ask.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's money. That's money.
Yeah, that's green. That's money.
Yeah, that's money.
OPM, other people's money.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I think, Buana? Look here. I mean, yeah, you want to use all your everything you can. Like, hey, if you can get their money, yeah, take it. Because you know what? They'll take yours. They'll take yours and finance their children's future.
So it's like, okay, I need to wash my car. Should I only go to a white car, only black-owned car wash if I want my car washed?
Man, I mean, but I believe in supporting black business, though.
I do too, but I mean, if there's a situation where, okay, well, I'm not going. if it's not a black option, we got to realize we live in a capitalist
I
system.
mean, I wouldn't hold that against nobody. You know, hey man, I'm going here. I gotta go
And
here.
there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Okay, the whole shit is tainted from the rooter to the tutor. All right, so I'm not gonna say you're supporting white business because you go to, well, we have Publix here in Florida. You go to a grocery store, you go to fast food. You're not supporting pro-whiteness. You just, you realize that you're in a capitalist system. I don't think that that makes you pro-white.
That's a lot different from sleeping with their women, though.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to make a distinction. Is that it's a lot different than laying up with a snow bunny, because whatever reason. And I'm gonna say this. I don't hold other interracial relationships to the same standard as I hold a black man and a white woman, a black and white. So say a black man dates, say, somebody from
A Latino. A Latino. Yeah, that's right.
Hold on. Let me specify. A black Latino. You be Latino of any race. If you want to date an Afro Latino, that's no problem. If you want to date somebody who has more indigenous ancestry, I wouldn't look at them. Say if you were black and you want to date somebody who was Aboriginal Australian, I wouldn't really care. Or you date somebody.
Hold on, Black Steel. Question. This is a quick question. So if your one of your children come home, you in Florida now, you know what Florida is. If one of your kids come home with a Latino, indigenous, whatever, they ain't black, you okay with that? You good? We gravy.
They may not be African, but do they? Well, listen, as long as they ain't white, as long as they're not white, we can slide it in there, as long as you ain't white. If you got more Taino, you got more Arawak in you than Cracker, we can, all right, we can work with that.
Yeah, that's what Phil's got to say about his wife. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's I think that's. Go ahead, Kuku. I'm sorry, man.
Let me read a couple of comments before I get to Oni. I saw the matron comment. I want to make sure I read it. She says you cannot be pro-black and date outside your race. The person you lay with is a reflection of your interests and values. Well stated, matron, as per usual. Make sure you guys are tuned into the matron. Make sure you subscribe to that same channel right there, our matron, on YouTube. Tragapi said, to be fair, what people are exposed to dictate the nuances of their preferences physically, and subculture may dictate how they connect with the person. This is why assimilation is an important aspect. That's an interesting comment. He said, yeah, the proximity thing is combated, but ideology and discipline, a lot of people don't have that. And if you do, very important for our people. I think he was responding to something I was saying earlier. A couple of more I'll read off real quick. He says, I think the buying from black businesses is useful two ways: supporting another black person on a basic level financially, or building a mini economy in order to push for political state power. Then he says, now you have to be with a black person. I think this idea that it's okay to date other races is why I think we have to outroot multiracialist thinking. I just wanted to also add to something. I think it was Anthony who said it. And I think it's an important term to bring up and bring up often. You're confusing people, man. You're confusing people. And what's even more detrimental, you go and you have children with this white person, you're confusing those children. And then confuse people, of course, confuse people. So you're creating a snowball effect that really just be the example of a black man with a black woman. With that said, Oni, you heard everything everyone else had to say. You saw what everyone said in the chat. What say you to all of it?
Yeah, so this question right here is a question that we give every day as a people. And it's like, at some point, you got to get beyond it. Obviously, obviously, what you should do as a black person is be with a black person. Okay, that's what it is. What pro-black means, what does African-centered mean, what does, race first mean? What does race only mean? Right? It don't like we I guess you could say, the quote goes, Negroes always knocking on the wrong door, talking to the wrong people and asking the wrong questions. Yeah, obviously, if we go by what pro-black is, yes, you should be in a black relationship, but asking this question every day. Matter of fact, I can tell y'all this. Real talk. Somebody a long time ago, I got into some beef, not beef, but some sort of drama on Twitter. And you know the question that was being asked at that point in time? The same damn question. If you search this question on Twitter, right? You go to search engine and search this question, you will see it was asked the day before, it was asked yesterday, it was asked the day before, asked the day before, asked the day before. Black people's obsession with the level 1 discourse. The obsession with level 1 discourse is almost at this point criminal. You know what I mean? While other people on this planet are discussing how to make processors smaller, like within, like, let's say 6 nanometers. Okay, 6 nanometers. That don't even make any sense to us, from the naked eye. 6 nanometer processors. While other people are trying to discuss making 6 nanometer processors, right? Other people are talking about how to live on Mars. Other people are talking about how to get nuclear energy, blah, 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 blah. We're still discussing, well, if can this person, what about, well, isn't Che going to joke pro-black? So how you gonna say, like, come on. We as a people have to get beyond elementary school. Now, obviously, because we have to, obviously, yes, you should be with a black partner. But on the point with the sister saying nobody told her she's beautiful, that might not be the cap that we think it is. Because I can tell y'all this, I'm a brother who, for whatever reason, I just stopped combing my hair back in elementary school. It's harder to find a sister if you don't comb your hair. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. like it's just really, really hard. Because see, other races don't know that you're doing something that's, quote unquote dirty. You know what I mean? Or something that we really discourage. But sisters know. You know what I mean? They know. Like I'll be honest, I was doing some little bum shit. I mean, I'm still doing the same bum shit. I ain't gonna hold you. But I didn't comb my hair. I didn't even iron my shirts because I was like, why am I ironing my clothes for? I don't need to do that. I'm a scientist. I was kind of living like Einstein. Like y'all see Einstein with his wild ass hair and all that kind of stuff. But sisters was not looking for you. So I get what Koku was saying about, hey, yeah, if I'm in an environment and a bunch of Jews are around me and they looking at me and smiling, I'm not looking back. I feel that. And of course, I'm not saying I'm gonna smile at no Jew right now, no. But what I'm saying is that a lot of black folk who are not necessarily, let's say, not necessarily conventionally pretty or conventionally beautiful, right? Even if even if like today we're gonna say, yeah, they hot, they hot shit. Like even like today, people might say, hey, Oni, you attractive, good for you, right? But like freeform locks was not a thing for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Freeform locks was not a thing for a minute. I'll just put it that way. And also, like, yeah, a lot of women have faced a lot of hostility in regards to what we call colorism today. I'm saying all this to say that, yeah, a lot of people who are not necessarily deep within the cultural aesthetic, the zeitgeist aesthetic, if you will, a lot of them do have trouble finding relationships. And I'll tell y'all this. Sorry, what? Oh, but I'll tell y'all this. When I was in elementary school, because I can remember this vaguely, because one of the things I like about Marimba Ani was that before Marimba Ani, if I was thinking about a smart woman, I was thinking about some I can't remember her name. Oh yeah, Raya Duyanovskaya or some shit like that. Some random socialist lady. When I was not elementary school, sorry, high school. I was thinking of Raya Duyanovskaya. I didn't even know like to even think about like where I went to school, you were not shown a single intellectual black woman. Okay, you didn't even know that there was anything about you didn't think anything, like you didn't recognize any intellectualism among black people, period. You know, let alone black women. So when I came across something like Marimba Ani and, you know, Francis Chris Weldon or whatever, right? That was like, yes, you know, when you start meeting women who are talking about black conscience and stuff, like I didn't even see that when I was growing up either. You know what I mean? So like I remember one time I was dating this woman, nice little thing, you know, she was whatever, as a sister, right? And I'm laying up in bed with her and I'm telling her some stuff, and she goes, yo, stop talking that black shit. You know? Now I made the mistake of going for the only other woman I met who was talking Malcolm X. Turned out she, you know, that's my son's mother, and that was, you know, not the time I should have been on. But the point was that, you know, a lot of like what we have today in society where like dark is beautiful, great. Right? What we have today where people are pro, you know, openly black and pro black, and you know, Malcolm X is on everybody's tongue, and you know, everybody knows, you know, black history and blah blah blah. That's great. What we have with, you know, looking up and seeing Umar Johnson instead of looking up and seeing Al Sharpton, great. Okay, you didn't have that back in the year. So if some sisters telling us, hey, you know what, nobody told me I was beautiful, like I've heard a few sisters say that to me already. You know, like I remember I was talking to this sister, matter of fact, 10 years ago. And I was like, damn, you're so beautiful. And she's like, wow, nobody even told me I was beautiful. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, got a big titties and, you know, all that. You know, she's looking good. But you know, and especially you got to remember the word beautiful is a little bit more extreme, because you got to remember that a lot of people are a lot of women, in fact, that we might be talking to might be coming up from the hood where the word beautiful is not even a word. You know, it's shorty, you got a nice ass or something. Or shorty, let me, you know, jizz on your teeth, you know, jizz on your chest or something. You know, and I'm not saying I don't know. Like again, I'm not there, but I'm just telling you, so that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think you know, as far as the question is concerned, and I kind of don't like the fact that people use this question, not just because people fought me over it before, but also I didn't like it. The reason why they fought me is because I didn't like the question then. I was just like, why are we always asking the same damn question? Why don't we go do something more meaningful with our you know, platform? You know, but all the same, yeah, you know, the counter argument is easy. You say, oh yeah, Cheikh Job is pro black. You know, Kwame Nkrumah definitely pro black. You know what I mean? You could say, I mean, I wouldn't say Frederick Douglass, but again, Frederick Douglass is a mixed person, so I don't know why you might bring him up. But and Du Bois is a mixed person too, so I don't know why you might bring him up. Although I think his lady was like light skinned in retrospect. But what I'm saying is that yeah, you could technically, but if you guys see what Nkrumah's daughter looks like, and you see what his grandchildren look like, you realize, brother, you should have went for a Ghanaian woman. Okay, you should have just went for a Ghanaian woman, and that's what it is. Like at some point, we have to start talking about what we want in the future, or what we want to build. Do we want a black family? And when you start talking about being a black family and building, you know, black wealth, intergenerational wealth, then these kind of questions don't even make any damn sense. You're supposed to be with another black person. Can you be rah 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 like black people? Sure, you could always say that. You know, Issa Rae, you know, she came up on what's this called? That stupid show, black, you know, crazy black woman or something like that. I don't know.
Yes,
Y'all know what I'm talking about. But like Issa Rae, like yeah, and she's always at the end of the movie and then the show she was with a white boy. Like yeah, you like people, black folk generally don't understand. Oh, sorry, and to the directly to the question, yeah, when you're outnumbered, your best bet is to be segregated. But like I said, when you start going on the fringe of that segregated culture, when you're not really trying to be an N word, you're not really trying to be a B word, you're not trying to be all that kind of stuff, your dating options become much more limited. When you start being a square, when you start being an Oreo because you want to study in school, your dating options become much more limited. And then you start, and then like I said, if these white folk are able to convince you that black folk ain't as, you know, that black folk, that if you're gonna find like a good political conversation with a socialist like Raya Duyunivskaya or whatever, right? If that's what these white folk convince you of, you might start looking at white folk. Now, granted, you know, your genes might tell you, oh, I got to get me a sister. But if you get turned down by enough sisters, because I tell you, one time I was getting turned down so much, you know what I'm saying? It was like you just think of yourself, what am I going to do? You know, and I'm actually grateful. I'll tell y'all this, I'm actually grateful that my experience in Africa was so good. You know what I mean? Because it kind of, because a lot of people tell you, because I mean, it does sound kind of passport bro-ish, but like realistically speaking, the dating scene in America is trash, and you don't know it until you go out and find out. Oh yeah, you know what? Like I was telling his brother earlier today, or I tell people all the time, we ghost people easy in America. I ghost people. People ghost me. And people not really serious, and you're not really like, people got way big mental illness, psychopaths, women telling you, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do, and then in Africa it's not the same. And you might be like, well, yeah, it's because you got money, or maybe, but it's kind of like you get the basketball player treatment in Africa, but you're not a basketball player. You can't even shoot a shot. You can't even do a 3-point. But it is what it is.
Tony, I have a
I
question
can
for you,
tell
brother.
Sugar Breeze oftentimes is a therapy for Oni. He gets to talk about
Yeah. He said some wild shit though.
That shit was wild as hell.
He said some wild shit though. But I gotta.
God damn. But anyway.
Wait, what was wild, man? Why do this guy?
Hey, brother,
Yeah.
I was going to say, boy, I said, man, I think I'm more confused now.
Tony, how is it, right? The first question I have for you, because I have some questions off of that shit just now. How is it that you grew up in a Caribbean community in New York City, and you don't meet an black intellectual woman until you was in college? How is that possible, brother? How is that possible? That's the first question. The second question is, I understand his problem. I know what your problem is, Oni. Your problem is you are a black scientist, a physicist, that usually you ain't gonna meet a whole lot. Well, you're gonna meet a lot of intellectual, probably science. No, you're not gonna meet a lot of them. And the reason, that's probably the reason why a lot of your dating shrink to a minimum, like a kind of small level. But when you went to Africa, there are many people who are on that kind of level, so they could understand where you come from. But I don't understand, how is it that you was reared and raised in the Caribbean community, and you don't meet no intellectual black women until you was in college? That's far out for me. That's very strange. That's very strange. But you have to explain that, man. I don't understand that.
I have an interest in. Well, I had an interest in politics, young. You know what I mean? Like high school, that kind of stuff. I was, I tell y'all guys, I was like part of Amnesty International back in high school. You know what I mean? The point is that if you're into that political, like I'll put it this way: a lot of people don't get into black nationalism, blah 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 blah, until they're like, or like black politics, 13th Amendment law and all that kind of stuff, until they're in their like late 20s. Maybe even early 20s.
You talk about black politics. You don't talk about you talk about black politics. Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is that like I was reading about socialism back in high school. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying nobody else was doing that, but what I mean is that at that point, the intellectual thinking that you get exposed to is the socialist. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you want to find a good socialist or a good intellectual socialist, but like there really aren't. Like that field is mostly men, and like I said, the only woman in that field that you can even think about is Raya Duyunevskaya. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're not gonna find, like, it'd be very hard pressed to find a black socialist in high school at that point in time. Now, obviously, nowadays probably could find like 1 million, right? But we're talking about like 20, 30 years ago. It wasn't in my school. Like my school was, I mean, although you might say it's a Caribbean thing, but it was like the hood. You know what I'm saying? It was the hood at that point. Matter of fact, Coco knows my school. He's right next door. I don't know if he works there, but he's right next door to my school. But like back then, like 30 years ago, well, not 30 years. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Wait, 20 years ago. That school was not like, it was like run by gangs and shit. You know what I mean? Like it was gang territory. It wasn't even so yeah. It's you're that like name a black intellectual that I should have came across. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. Oh, and as far as like my grad school, yeah, I was the only black student in my department. Like I was the only black student in grad school. I was the only black student in the whole physics department. And the same inside of college, there were no black women in my department. Like, there just weren't. There was like one other black guy.
Yeah, only I don't take it as an offense or something like that. But your answer, you gave a lot of personal experiences and whatnot. So yeah, even Anthony's chuckling in the background. So that's what I was referring to. In the chat, the forecast says, "Yo, what up, y'all?" Trigabi 262 Plus says, "That's why I'm not against African people traveling and dating. I prefer citizenship bros from passport bros, though. Travel to say in Africa or a Caribbean country and do the work. The best thing about Pan-Africanism is that you will be open to the billion of our people in the race, as opposed to being secluded in a particular section of our race." I appreciate those comments. Keep them coming. Does anyone have any last thoughts on this particular prompt? If not, let's go to Should the Breeze topic number 3 tonight. Should the Breeze topic number 3 says, "This is Baltimore corruption. Is this a witch hunt too? Do black politicians go there for good, but then try to go for self?" So this came with a link. Let me just put it here. Wait, let me see. Yeah, let me just paste it here. This came with a link. We'll watch the video and then we'll discuss it.
2 years ago this month, Catherine Pugh resigned as mayor of Baltimore in disgrace. The once powerful politician now serving 3 years in an Alabama prison. For the first time, we are hearing from the FBI about the exhaustive investigation into expose how she hid hundreds of thousands of dollars all through a series of children's books. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren takes us inside this case.
Thank you. In 2016, Catherine Pugh finally made it, the pinnacle of her long political career, being elected mayor of Baltimore.
If anyone were to ever ask me what is my dream job, this is it.
Do you have anything to say to the citizens of Baltimore? But soon it all came crashing down, an indictment, resignation, and guilty plea.
I think the first thing I should do is apologize to the citizens of Baltimore who put their faith and trust in me as their mayor.
How did it start?
By
WJZ spoke exclusively with the IRS and FBI, whose representatives only now can talk about the case since all of the defendants in the scheme have been sentenced.
So she was trying to cover her tracks as quickly as she could.
Just weeks after Pugh settled into the mayor's office, investigators discovered her close confidant and aide, Gary Brown Jr., was disguising thousands of dollars in donations that helped Pugh win a tight mayoral primary. The money was coming from an unlikely source, Healthy Holly.
It seemed like from the beginning, it was a scheme to make money.
Pugh used her position on the board of the University of Maryland Medical System to get them to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on her shoddily edited books, which cost pennies to produce. Many were supposed to be donated to city schools, which found them unusable.
It had severe grammatical errors where the school system had to then edit the copy.
On top of it, Pugh was only delivering a fraction of the books, sometimes selling the same ones again to others who did business with the city, and pocketing the cash, not reporting it on her taxes. Do you expect it to be able to recover what was lost?
I think we're hopeful. People want to know that elected officials will also be held accountable for the crimes.
Was there surprise at the brazenness of this?
She was ordering books that she wasn't printing, and then she was double selling them. Yeah, that's brazen.
Agent Parr was at a raid on City Hall. Federal investigators carried out another raid that same day at Pugh's large new home in Ashburton, bought with Healthy Holly proceeds. Pugh hid her cell phone from authorities who had a warrant for it.
She did not cooperate. She said she gave her phone to her sister. So one of the agents called her personal phone, and it was ringing, vibrating in her bed, hidden under her covers. We were very professional. We brought a nurse with us. You know, she's 69 years old. So our nurse held her hand while we searched her house until her attorneys got there. She was shaken. Well, they say jump, and I don't know.
Agent Parr brought some evidence to show us, a few of the Healthy Holly books, and the onesies, bibs, and jump ropes not publicly seen since Pugh's bizarre press conference in March of 2019.
walk, run, crawl, skip, dance.
Where she spoke in a whisper and showed off her entire line of Healthy Holly products.
Play and crawl.
We knew a lot, but we didn't know about this baby clothing line. She made it seem like it was this big enterprise that she had, but it wasn't. Her statements to the press where she didn't know where that money came from is absolutely false.
None of this was intentional.
As for Pugh, she claims she learned her lesson. Earlier this year, she begged then-President Trump for clemency to get her out of prison. He denied it.
This is hard to stand here with you all.
What message do you hope this case sends?
We want public officials to follow the rules. We want them not to use their office for public or personal gain.
In Baltimore, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
And Pugh started her 3-year sentence last summer, could be released sometime this year.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Sorry, my computer froze for a second. Yeah, buddy, is correct, Anthony. I'm going to come right to you now. Anthony, this is Baltimore corruption. Is this a witch hunt too?
No, it
Black
ain't no
politicians go there for good. Go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony.
I'm sorry, Coco. Go ahead and finish, Coco. I can wait till you get through.
No. Go ahead.
No, okay, what I was gonna say was, okay, now, hey, look here. I'm not ever for nothing bad happening to no sister, man, not ever. But what I will say is, you remember when the other sister, Marilyn Mosby, when the whole Freddie Gray thing was going on, and she was saying we gonna prosecute these police. That sister right there, the mayor, she was dead set against her, man. You know, I mean, she was against it. I mean, she was going at that sister, man. Like, yeah, you know, we stand with the police and all that stuff. See, this what happened when you lay there and ride with the lynch mob, and when the lynch mob finally get the Negroes they want, they'll turn around and kick you in the water too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'll hey, you ain't no use to them no more. And see, now they going after her. No, she was with them, the police department, going against their sister, man, who wanted to prosecute those cops. And I'm saying it's just like, I mean, get me wrong. Hey, I don't wish nothing bad for. But I'm saying this is what happened when you side with them people against your people, and then they turn around and say, "Well, we don't need you no more." Then they come after you. I leave it at that. I pass the mic.
Appreciate that, Anthony. Let me mix it up a little bit. Only, what say you?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's corruption or witch hunt. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't even know who this person is. Do black politicians go there for good, but then try to go for self? You know, a lot of people think that, you know, a lot of people, like, there's a lot of abuses in America. I mean, it's not even a black white thing. I think us thinking that black folk gotta be perfect is like, it's fine, but it's just unrealistic. You know what I mean? Like, it's just unrealistic in the sense of, yeah, black people are probably gonna do the same fuck shit that white people do. Probably not in the same quantity, you know, and probably not, you know, the more vile shit. You know what I mean? Like the horses and the pedophilia and shit. Although there are black people who do pedophilia, there are black people who do, you know, unfortunately, rape and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's going to be black people who go up and say, "Yo, I could force these schools to buy my books. I write the budget." But like, that's what everybody does. You write the budget. You decide how things go. Was she like? I don't know what. Like it's kind of like, I'll put it this way, right? If I became mayor, right? I became mayor, and then I wanted children's books in the schools. I might not want the dumb children's books that, you know, tell people that black folk is monkeys. I might want I might want that book, you know, Snow Bunny, you know, stay away from the Snow Bunny type shit. You know what I'm saying? Or if it was like a textbook, I might want a textbook that has, you know, like my textbook growing up in personal, right? But my textbook in high school or whatever had 2 paragraphs of Garvey, you know, and they said that Garvey might have been stealing money. You know what I'm saying? I might not want that same textbook for black students. I might want a textbook that says, you know, like I might want When We Ruled or some shit, or if not When We Ruled, something of that quality. Now, if I happen to, you know, put it together and be able to profit from it under the table, well, not under the table, but I happen to profit from it, then, you know, that might be the solution that I have to take, you know? And I mean, we might say that's corruption. We might say that that's a thing. And I mean, when she does it, she's probably not doing it for some noble cause. But like that's the reality of the world. You know, the reality of the world is that if you want good books in schools, you might have to uh, you might have to be very cautious with the books that you're going to put in those schools. And if you don't see any good books, now she didn't make a good book, so it's harder to argue on her behalf. But like I could see if I were in that position, I might, if I don't put When We Ruled, if I don't put Destruction of Black Civilization, if I don't put, you know, what the Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire, if I put down, let's say, my book, Pro Black Companion, right? If I put down the Pro Black Companion for high school, to be inside of every side of school, somebody might come around and say, "Hey, man, you're being corrupt," and it's like, no, maybe I might want people to have my book. And if white people are cracking down on that, then it is what it is. But like that's the power that everybody has. Don't think for a second that whatever your favorite mayor, your favorite white mayor, isn't paying people who he knows, who he's friends with, and who he might profit from. That's the whole reason why people are trying to buy elections. They are paying these politicians so that when the politicians have to do government contracts, when the politicians are drawing up the budget, they include them inside the budget. That's the whole system. Now, she did a sloppy job. I'll give her that. She probably new to the game. That they probably somebody set her up. Well, I don't want to say set her up, but probably somebody told her give her some bad advice. But like that's the name of the game in America. It's a lot of money in those budgets. I was talking about the other day, $6 trillion for the U.S. federal budget. $6 trillion for the New York City budget. I think it was like $290 billion. What you doing with $290 billion? You buying books and shit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, being personal is not a problem, so don't worry about it. But yeah, this story, as I was watching it and listening to Oni just now too, this reminds me of like those non-profit organizations that people kind of just make up. They create this non-profit and they pay themselves a six-figure salary, right? And they pay a couple other people, make some shit happen. But it's really like a out for self type of thing. I mean, a lot of this government kind of spending, profiting off of government. A lot of it is that. A lot of people are making good salaries because they had the damn wherewithal to go start a little organization, right? And write a good document to get the funding, and they're paying themselves handsomely off of that. So, like Oni said, my girl here probably did it sloppy. Maybe people didn't, maybe she had some haters too, or what have you. I will say though that again, I don't think it's wrong to have a standard. And I think in her case, like a case like this, try to keep it clean. And I'll say that for black men, black women, black in between. Try to keep it clean. If you're gonna do the business the way it's been done, then do it how it's been done, as to what Oni said. Otherwise, try to keep your nose a little bit clean. That's what I would say. With that said, let's just throw it to Black Steel. Black Steel would say.
So, like Oni said, this is America, right? So this lady and a lot of black politicians seem to forget what America really means to black people. Since we're sharing personal stories, I'll share one myself. When I was maybe about seventh grade, I got suspended off the school bus. I was playing around, tussling, throwing paper ball, being a kid. And it was me, and it was a white kid, couple white kids, couple Spanish kids. But I was the only one who got suspended. And I mean, my mom told me, "You forgot. I told you, you can't do what they do. Yeah, you were all wrong. Yeah, you was acting a fool. He was acting a fool. But you can't do what they do because they look at you through a magnifying glass. They expect you as a black child to be acting up. This woman, there's a lot of crooked, corrupt politicians. She probably isn't even the worst thing a politician has done. But she's a black woman in the United States of America, 3Ks. Okay, she forgot what it is. They're gonna they're gonna go over everything you do with a fine tooth comb. The mayor in New York, Giuliani, or some mayor in some rinky dink town in fucking Arkansas, they could probably get away with selling the same books over and over again. But you can't because you're black, man. You forget what it is and what it's not. It's never been a meritocracy. It's never been a free country. They're gonna scrutinize you to the utmost. So she got in there. She got in a position of power. She forgot where she was and who she was. And they reminded her, this is her nigga wake-up call. I don't care how old you are. Hey, nigga, you can't be out here scamming like these white politicians can scam. That's not for you. And they brought down a hammer on her. Any other politicians wouldn't even be a story. If it was some mayor who was selling kids books and doing it would have probably been a slap on the wrist. But she is a black woman in a racist ass country that doesn't even really want her to be in there. So the minute she hit that door, they were looking for a reason to get rid of her. They were looking over everything she did. Oh, she did this, she did that. That's how it is. These black people, these politicians, they get a little money, they get a little status, they start working on white people, and they really start they can move the way these crackers move, and they're gonna remind you every single time, no, you can't. We're gonna let you know what it is and what it's not, and that's what happened with this lady. She's obviously guilty. She confessed to the crime. They were following her for a while, so she's guilty as homemade sin. I'm sorry that she betrayed the people who voted for her, who was mostly black people who wanted representation. So it's shameful, but that's probably how the political machine in cities like Baltimore work. I mean, there's a lot of corruption there. She just happened to get singled out because this is who she is. This is America. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Appreciate that a lot, Black Steel. Let's hear from Buena.
Oh, this is not a witch hunt, Arzuli. This is a person who is actually doing something that is beneath, not above board. And unfortunately, she was caught for what she was doing. I don't know what she was doing prior to her being caught for what she was doing, but this is not a witch hunt. This is a legitimate investigation because they have sufficient evidence enough to say, well, listen, also too, don't never put your name on nothing if it's not above board. I could see if she's scamming, but the things that she doing, the documents that she was selling, the books she was selling, actually was legitimate books. She probably didn't go through the products, man. This letters are spelled wrong, and you're going to sell this to children? Come on, bro. Come on, sister. Come on, sister. You know what I mean? I know it's about a money grab. Most politicians enter office for the money grab. And if you don't think that, you're dreaming. But unfortunately, they really got her hemmed up. And my thing is, if you got to steal, wait until you're out of office. You, as a black woman, you sell influence. You sell access. The fact that you would have made relationships in office, that make you very that make you have that proximity, give you the ability for people to come in and say, well, I can put you in a meeting with this person, and this person. But it's after you leave office. So the pressure is not there. You can't steal like the white boy steal. like my brother was just saying, you can't steal like the white boy steal. You got to do something a little different. And my suggestion is do the time in office legitimately. Everything they need them to do. You make the relationships, you build the relationships, you know what I mean? And then after you leave office, you sell influence, like Barack Obama them did. like they did. That's how they get their money. Don't do it in office, because you can't like Black Steel say, if you're stealing like the white boys, this is what gonna be the end result. Because you're not above the law. They above the law because they create the system. But you won't gonna be able to do the same kinds of things that they do. But it's not. This is not like the scenario with the other sister who we talked about recently, as far as Baltimore, the DA. I forget her name now. It's not the same scenario. That was actual witch hunt. And let me say this. Right now, I think they're investigating the prime minister, the president of Haiti's wife, because now they are saying that it's possible that she could have been involved in a murder of her husband. Okay? So politics is a dirty affair. It's absolutely dirty. You really don't know what's going on behind the scenes unless you're intimately involved. You know, politicians do good things, politicians do bad things. Not because they black, that don't absolve them of wrongdoing. Black people do wicked things all the time, brother. All the time. Like I say, they're investigating the president's wife of Haiti. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't just say, oh, because she black or whatever. I am saying the last lady was witch hunted based off of the fact that, hey, she stood up for her community, and that was the result of it. And if you look at the history of what these people do, they are very vindictive. When you do things against them or against their system, they coming after you. That happens. That's a reality in the United States and globally. And globally around the world. And if you don't think that, look at Haiti. They've been punishing Haiti since 1804. Most of these Western countries. You think that they doing that because they want to give them a hand out, a hand up? No, they want to make Haiti an example for the world that black people can't free themselves and live freely ever. They are vindictive. They was vindictive back then, and they continue to be. That's why I say they witch hunting her for what she did when the DA the DA of Baltimore in doing what she did when she stood up for Freddie Gray. They are vindictive like that, and they have a history of it. That's what I'm saying. This is a different kind of scenario. This lady put her name on some bogus things, and she hustled wrong. She was hustling backwards. Yeah, she was hustling backwards. And this is the result of it. So it is what it is. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it there.
I think I got everyone on that. Does anyone want to have any last thoughts?
Yeah. I just want to say one thing, answer Bonner. I mean, this sister right here, she was part of the witch hunt against Marilyn Mosby. You know what I'm saying?
Was she?
Yeah, she was with the police. She was co-signing with the police against her.
Oh yeah, well, she getting what she deserved then. She getting what she deserved.
That's what I'm saying, and now it'll turn on her. That's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate that reminder. Okay, let's go to. We're doing an excellent time tonight. We'll end at 11, maybe even earlier, because this is Shoot the Breeze topic number 4 coming up. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. It's another long one. It says, continental Pan-African traveler has words for Caribbean heads of state and what an African continent/Caribbean relationship can look like. Continental Africans scared to travel in the Caribbean due to negative experiences. For example, Wode Maya gets visa application rejected from Antigua and Barbuda for being a continental African. Bishop gets detained for 4 days and deported from Dominica. From Dominican Republic. Solutions for Africa and the Caribbean. So that was a lengthy one. Let's try to get those down into one single field. 200, I think it's 200 characters or whatever. But it was informative. And this link, of course, this problem comes with a link. We will watch it, and then we'll discuss.
Or the roots. I'm looking at all the Caribbean ministers. I'm looking at all the Caribbean, all the Caribbean governors. You must be sick in your heads and wasting time sitting in your offices, smoking and burning taxpayers' money when you cannot deliver the tears of the ancestors who sleep on these grounds, who all they wanted was to go back home. And you'd sit in office and make sure that the citizens, the young people, the young generation will not even know which route to go to Africa. Imagine a high school boy who simply wants to trace his routes, and he's told how many visas do you need just to get across the ocean. Why can't we make it easy? Imagine your son coming here to study, my daughter coming here to study, bringing me home a Jamaican husband, going there, bringing home a Zulu girl. Cultural integration would begin to neutralize this issue. But until we begin to have this conversation, and I'm glad me and you, as you representing the North, me representing the South, we're here to come and tell the fellow Caribbeans that you don't need to be strangers. We are your brothers, and we are your sisters.
We are not criminals. See, anytime I pick up my passport that I'm about to travel within the Caribbean, I get scared. And I've been talking about it. People even felt like I was making their countries look bad. But I'm so glad that you also experienced
I'm not making their country look bad. I'm just relating what happened. And the beautiful part is that when you travel and you don't have a big poster on your forehead that says Bishop Maponga J, and with a CV of what he has done, what he's doing, the media and what, and movies, and the amount of influence that he has, then all of a sudden people must now treat you nicely because you are carrying the credentials. Okay, so what happens to the common person?
Exactly. This is what I've been preaching. That I know all the people that will make my travel easy for me, but I'm not interested. Recently, something happened to me. I was going to Antigua and Bermuda, and then I applied for a visa. They didn't even check. All they saw was an African.
This is 2 days ago.
This is 2 days ago. All they saw was an African applying for a visa, and they denied me. Like, my $150 was just gone. And funny enough, I posted it, and the Prime Minister himself came to respond that you got this reaction because recently I think over 100 Africans came into our shores and they were illegal. And because of that, any African that applies for a visa, we deny. I'm like, you deny without even checking.
It's stereotyping, and they're already wired like that. They already with this. You see, when I lambast my African political leaders, that you are Uncle Toms, you are stooges who are managing the colonial system to benefit to you, to the sacrificing of the community that is under you. Because under it does not make sense that an all-black government, all black, could sit around and manage the same colonial rules that oppressed them. Now they are responsible for managing the same rules. How can you expect the laws that oppressed you to liberate you? How does it happen? The man that raped you and abused you, he comes around and says, now I'll help you to heal. I'll help you to heal. Don't worry, I'll clean you up. I'll get a doctor for you. That's sadistic of the highest order. If you have done what you've done, just step away. Let me hang around my own relatives and fix this mess. But for us to think that the Western world and the Northern world will have solutions for the Caribbean, will have solutions for Africa, we must be smoking. And I'm glad we're in Jamaica. We must be smoking something very strong.
After being here, what would you say that will be a solution for both Africa and the Caribbean?
The first idea that I was talking to Brother Clinton here, a beautiful friend that I've found for the past few days, is to start organizing African games between the Caribbean and Africa, business symposiums, young entrepreneurs who can begin to come across the ocean, transport transactions, commodity movement. But for a start, even cultural exchange programs. I want actually to open up a cultural center in Jamaica here, and then call other African spiritual people to service the black community within the Caribbean who badly need spiritual guidance in one way or the other, which has gone far into Catholicism, far into Rastafarianism and etc., far into Christianity and etc. And Jamaica on its own has the highest population of churches in the Caribbean. How many per square kilometer? No, so immediately these people are all churched people. Guess where they want to go?
Heaven.
You can't talk anything to someone who wants to talk about the state of the dead when they can't even understand the state of the living. Their minds are on some pie that is in the sky. They can't see the resources that are in their hands. They keep on praying that God must come through, but God is knocking at the door and they won't open the door. So it's a mess. It's a mess, and I think it's high time, and I'm glad we're here to tell the Caribbean community, don't listen to politicians. There are more business opportunities in Africa. All you young ladies who think that there are no men to marry, hey, before you give up on life, get a passport.
Exactly.
Am I lying?
No, you're not lying
Go get
at all.
yourself in Nigeria and Ghana and Zimbabwe some nice green bananas, some Zulu chief and strong young men, and get yourself married. And vis-a-vis, this is the kind of we have come here to tell you that you can come to and this is a beautiful story, I think.
Yep.
We have come here to say there are people here.
Mm.
And we can go back there and say we saw them, they are alive there. And we hope that through these conversations, they could begin some.
And what is that one common thing that you found that is so similar with Africa in the Caribbean?
Oh, well, the old people that I've been living with are very grounded, very grounded. They feed you like you are going out of it's going out of fashion, and they are highly spiritual. And I think at a deeper sense, the lack of identity or the bled memories of distant past that they have, the little that they have left of what identity is all about. Now they're really holding on to that. And I find that their ways of cooking could be the same. Founded some yam here.
Yep.
Found some plantain here also. Though in the south we only have cassava.
Yeah.
And lots of fruits here.
Yep.
All right. I'll end it there. I went past the timestamp anyway. So Black Seal will be back in a few. He has to step away for a second. I will be curious to hear what he would have to say to this. I like the point Bishop makes towards the end there where he says, get a passport. Young girls don't stay here and, think your life is over. I like that message. The problem with a lot of people who would want to practice that, and Trigger alludes to that sometimes in the chat, is go and do the work, man. Like, just don't go out there to be fucking on people, and you're not becoming a part of the culture. You're not becoming, trying to learn the language. You're not meeting fathers. You're not meeting mothers. So that's the thing I want folks to put into their, analysis of getting this passport thing. Don't just somebody going out there just to go sleep around. Like, really go out there to establish a connection with a person, their people, reestablish some connections you might have depending on the region that you go into. But go and do the work, man. But it's good to see these two brothers in the Caribbean sitting having this conversation. I really hope that they could get through to some of these leaders in the Caribbean. I was disappointed in Antigua for what they did there. But I hope that the would-be leaders of tomorrow would be able to catch these messages and go into it, with this type of consciousness. So I'll pass it off there. I'll start with Buana, actually. Buana, what say you to this?
I don't think it's fair. Here's what let me say this first. I think the black world need to stop finger wagging at each other. When I say that, what I mean is the Africans come to the Caribbean and finger wag. The African Americans come to the Caribbean or Africa and finger wag. The Africans go to America and finger wag at the blacks there. And I think that we need to stop doing that to one another. I think that that's not the way to approach your brothers, because we have different kinds of stories based off our histories. And I think that we need to stop doing that. That's a dangerous thing to do. And it keeps us divided and separate and not wanting to listen to one another. That's the first thing. The second thing, Koku, is yes, Antigua denied this brother a passport, but the prime minister himself, the leader of the country, explained the reasons why there was an issue. Explain how many times do you get that? Now I'm sure that the prime minister would have checked to find out, well, this person is an influencer. I can't just cut him off at the knees. So he thought to explain to him specifically what was going on. But Antigua is a small island in the middle of the ocean, man. Ain't no worry. In this man's Wode Maya's travel to the Caribbean, he was able to meet a gold medalist Olympic athlete in Jamaica. Had a good old time in Jamaica. He was able to sit with Mia Mottley in Barbados, Prime Minister of Barbados, the current Prime Minister. He was able to sit with the current Prime Minister of Guyana. How many Black Africans get that kind of access? So for you to only say, well, I couldn't get a visa in Antigua, but you get access not only to regular rank and file people, but the people in the highest offices in the Caribbean countries that really matter to me. You know what I mean? It's really a disservice to say, well, okay, now I had a bad experience because I get denied in Antigua. Come on, brother. Don't do that to us, because your global reach is too vast, and you're putting an idea inside of the mind of your viewers to say, well, you wasn't accepted in the Caribbean, when that's not the case. That's an unfair statement to make. That's the second thing. The third thing I want to say is this brother Mapongo or whatever, he's another Umar Johnson. They're laughable. They're laughable. Because Mia Mottley, for the past how long, has been establishing links with African leaders. Now, last week I just mentioned the fact that the Bahamas signed a pact with Ghana, and they having Ghanaian nurses to work in hospitals down here. We are establishing relationships. So for him to suggest that we are not doing that, I don't know what paper he's reading. I don't know what paper he's reading. Spokesperson. Like I say, you need to stop doing the finger wagging, and as Koku was saying, you need to get on the ground and do the actual work. Because this whole spokesmanship right now has become a very financially feasible thing where people go all around the world. They are the other kinds of pastors, where they go from country to country and give these high-minded speeches, but you can't really see the impact, the physical impact and things they actually do within the countries. No institutions built. Nothing actually institutionally even formulated or structured or whatever. Who do these people answer to? Nobody. These are YouTubers. When it comes to getting things done, I think that the moral finger wagging has to stop. If you say that we should develop relationships, show me the relationship that you are currently fostering and developing Caribbean countries first, before you make these kinds of accusations against people in the Caribbean. Don't do that to us, because anyone can make statements. Anyone can make statements. Anyone can give high-minded speeches. What you are doing, what relationships are you creating, what institutions are you building, what are you giving in exchange for someone giving back to you in the Caribbean? You know who the people who deal with my car is in the Bahamas right now? A bunch of Nigerians. They have a business here right now. Anytime I have flats and things like that, I go to them always, all the time. There's a bunch of Nigerians here who doing business on the ground here in Nassau. So I'm saying, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? These brothers then need to stop. We as a community in the Black world need to stop pointing the finger at each other and morally finger wagging at each other, and try to get to situations where we could talk, one to another, and try to see if we can resolve our problems in an amicable way. I don't need nobody pointing the finger as if you my daddy and telling me how I should behave. I don't need that. And I think that we didn't see enough of that. You know what I mean? If you don't like the way I do things, come sit down, let's have a conversation, and let's work something out. But as far as finger pointing and finger wagging at one another, you point the finger at me and a finger pointing back at you. In my mind, I think that we must stop that. And I think that Wode Maya, as a diplomatic person in the Black world, he needs to exercise more caution in the things of what he says, because this has pissed me off. because he's been showing nothing but love in the Caribbean, and that could get mashed up by this silly video right here. Because I know it's actually happening in the Caribbean currently. People are taking strides and making efforts to formulate relationships and things of that nature. And then when you come with this moral finger wagging at us in the Caribbean, I sticking my finger up at you and saying, fuck you. Who are you? You know, so I think that as diplomats, you need to exercise more diplomacy in how you going about. You are in Jamaica criticizing Caribbean people. How dare you? You know, and then you talk about the number of churches in Jamaica. How much churches where you come from, brother? You coming from South Africa? How much churches in South Africa on the African continent itself? And then you can criticize Caribbean people for having too many churches. Yeah, in Africa, Africa is the. Let me stop ranting. I'm saying that we need to stop morally wagging the finger at one another. I think that at the Black world, we need to exercise diplomacy and exercise patience for one another. I think that we need to do that first and foremost, especially when we get on these international media sites where other people are able to see these things, because we tearing apart a relationship that could be fostered between us because we are loose in the things that we say from time to time. I think that we need to exercise more diplomacy. But I'll leave it there.
One or two things before you go. I just want to ask you a question. It's just for a little better understanding. If I see a guy throwing garbage outside of his car, right? He has garbage in the car and he's throwing it out on the street. But 6 feet away, there's a garbage bin. And I say to the brother, don't litter in the community like that, man. See a garbage right there, throw it. Then he tells me, fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. Was I morally finger wagging him?
No, you was telling him, you was giving him a suggestion that something could be done better because you live in a community. But for me, it's your approach. It's your approach. If you tell me that and I don't know you, I can say, well, F you. But I wouldn't approach him like that. I would say, bro, we live in the same community. I know you, you know me. We trying to keep this environment clean, not only for us, but for our kids, bro. When we walking on the street, you know what I mean? This garbage right here, I helped to put this here. It's for you. My approach is different. My approach is I have an ear to hear what you have to say. But don't finger wag at me. Don't finger wag at me because I'm not gonna listen to that bullshit. I'm telling you, Koku. Approach is everything. It's not the fact that you saying the right thing. First of all, it's how you saying it and how you coming to me about how you talking to me and addressing me. I'm not gonna listen to you when you come to me as this so-called moral authority, because I know your yard ain't clean either. I check out your yard already. In Africa yard ain't so clean either. So don't attempt to judge me about my yard when your yard ain't so clean. If you address me and approach me in a different manner and come to me and show me how it's a benefit on both sides, mutually beneficial. You could say something and be right, but I may not take it because it's how you say things. Diplomacy is about that, brother. Diplomacy is about that, you know. But that's just me, Koku. I might be living in a fantasy world, but that's just me. I
don't know if you live in a fantasy world or not. I just think, to be honest with you, I think that's a big problem with us. We can't even talk to each other and say, hey, man, you know, that's what you're doing. They don't make no sense. We can't even do that. Like immediately someone want to sting your head right off. And it's like, bro, I'm talking to you about something for the betterment of yourself and probably everyone around you. You know, so I think we do. I do agree that delivery is important. I agree. But to me, it also matters if the truth of it. Like if a man scream at me, get the fuck down. I wouldn't like a man screaming at me, but if I come to find out he told me get down and a bullet whizzed past my head, I appreciate, you know what I mean? I appreciate what you did for me there. You know, so, you know, I think we have to balance those things out sometimes. Also, one last thing from Buana. What did by the way, Buana, we can't be dissing Antigua like that. That's one of our people too, right?
But, bye.
What did the PM say?
No, it was in the video. The Prime Minister explained the fact that they had immigrants African immigrants coming there ready to do nefarious things. So
Mr.
that's the reason why he got rejected. So I'm saying that, that's a legitimate reason, but I'm saying he got that from the prime minister himself. How many Africans get that personal thing from the prime minister? Not many. Not many. And plus, you're living in the Caribbean, even though they're black countries, well, predominantly black countries, these countries are very anti-African, unfortunately. Unfortunately. We're working on that. We're working on that. But these countries are still anti-African. We never dealt with colonialism the way we should have. So we are currently working on that to get ourselves out of that. And we're seeing leaders come up right now to address these kinds of issues. But like I say, man, Koku, I feel personally that this brother is from South Africa, and I can make certain accusations levy certain accusations about his country as well, and how they practice their racialized politics there, and how much people Jesus stompers that they exist in their country too. So I'm saying that we need to be diplomatic in how we come towards one another. Yes, you may have a legitimate statements to make when you make statements about the society that I currently exist in the Caribbean, but I just think that approach is important and diplomacy is important as well, especially when we've been amongst each other for 400 years. There's other ways of approaching and going about doing things as black folks, but I'll leave it.
Appreciate that, and thanks for hanging in there with me with all the questions. Only what say you to this?
Well, I might agree with Juan a little bit. Not the whole pseudo Caribbean nationalism, but no, I mean like these are YouTubers. You know what I mean? I mean, you might say, "Oh, Odin, you a YouTuber too." I'm not really, but still, you might say, "Odin, you a YouTuber too." But no, I mean, like, why is it? If a white girl, like, we all see this kind of thing. I'm an influencer. The white girl who's like, "Let me stay up in your hotel for free because I'm an influencer and you get exposure," right? And when that was the thing, we were like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" Like, you can't be on that kind of time. The dude applied for a visa and he got rejected. Now, we might say it wasn't the best way to get rejected, but that's it. I mean, I could understand being tight from being rejected, and I could understand being tight being rejected because your name is a certain way, and there's a lot of people coming from there that was doing some fuck shit already, right? And they were trying to cut down on that. But the whole idea that everybody should just open up to everybody and visa processes should be null and void and blah, 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 that's all well and good on a theoretical level. But if you're talking about really administering a nation, that might not necessarily be something you can do. You get what I'm saying? That might not necessarily be something you can do. Put it different, because even I'll say it this way. If I want a passport from America, because I went through this problem just recently, I had to pay $200 fucking dollars. One, America has the right to America still reserves the right to decline my passport if I was on some terrorist shit. Obviously, America has the right to decline my passport, and America's not gonna just wham bam, thank you, you could do travel right now. No, America's gonna tell me, a quote unquote citizen of America, we're gonna look over your papers for a couple of weeks. We're gonna go do you a serious background check for a couple of weeks. And so the whole visa process, part of it is we have to you should probably pay the people who are doing a background check for you. Now, I'll grant that it doesn't seem like he actually had a background check. Right? It sounds like he paid his $150 and he who shit out of luck. But I would say, yeah, that's not, again, in his particular situation, it's not the best. But the only reason why we notice it is because, well, there's two things to it. One, I mean, in fact, they said the prime minister said there was, I don't know what they said. I think they said people were smuggling people outside from his country. So he was saying people were coming from his country, let's say Ghana. People were coming from Ghana and smuggling people out or something like that. I don't know. But if that were a serious, like, let's say if that were serious, like here, it says right here. No, that doesn't say right here. I think that later on the guy is going to point it out. But he's like, if that's serious that people were traveling from Ghana, right? And then smuggling people outside of Antigua, right here. It says hundreds of African conflict migrants that entered our shores just over a year ago and subsequently smuggled out of our country. Okay, so maybe he's saying that they use Antigua as a base to let's say, sneak into America, and it might cause some bad relationships with America or some shit like that. Let's just pretend, right? Yeah. And then America like says, hey, you know, we're gonna have to trade different lines, so forth. You have to control your border type stuff. That's not a bad thing for people to be rejected off of that premise. They don't know that you are. I mean, if you wrote down on your application, I'm a YouTuber, I'm an influencer, and I'm not really about sneaking around. I mean, he is going to multiple countries, but I'm not really on that time. That's different. But if you actually do have like hundreds of people that you've accepted who've used your country as a platform, and so on and so forth, and you decide to implement some sort of international law and order, and you might say, well, that's just international law. No, if you're trying to implement something for your own diplomatic relationships, why are we sitting down, you know, smoking blunts in Jamaica, right? Complaining about something that's over our heads, something that's complaining about responsibilities that are bigger than us. We tend to make light of all these things and why there's a visa cost and why there's a visa application and why there's this and why there's that. We want everybody to do everything for us for free, and we're entitled to everything, and we're more entitled because we're influencers and we make YouTube videos that, you know, people watch and they get, you know, they get our ideas about how the world should be free and open, all that stuff. That's all well and good, but if you're not in the position of actually paying individuals to get shit done, to make those connections, to make real change or real government or real governance or real science or real whatever happen, then just move the fuck out of the way. That's it. And like, to, you know, I don't know about Antigua. I've never been there. I'm not probably never gonna go there, right? I'm not gonna hate on Antigua, but, you know, like Buana said, this dude could sit up, entertainer. He's an entertainer. He makes, you know, documentaries, kinda, right? This guy could sit up with the prime ministers of these countries. How long you been in? How long? I mean, I haven't been to Jamaica, but I could have been in Jamaica. I could have been born in Jamaica. I could have died in Jamaica, and I would have never seen the prime minister of Jamaica. I would have never had an audience with the prime minister of Jamaica. I would never be able to speak my mind to the prime minister of Jamaica. You know? So like, you know, sometimes you gotta enjoy some of your privileges, but you can't be going on, oh, well, they don't like us because blah, blah. Yeah, because there's a real world outside of YouTube. There's a real world outside of entertainment. There's a real world of people smuggling themselves out of the country. There's a real world of porous, what do you call it? Porous borders. If that's the real world, then we have to come to terms and say, you know what? Maybe this is over my pay grade. Maybe I just make entertainment videos. Maybe some, you know, and some people like it. I don't know. You know, I'm not saying it's bad. I never really watch, but, you know, but that's it. Just accept that. I'm saying that way.
Appreciate that, Oni. Black Steel is back. Black Steel, you heard everything everyone else said. What say you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, from my understanding, the brother felt slighted because they denied his application for his visa. And God, I hate myself for saying this, but I agree with Oni. Yeah, I mean, it's not, to me, it feels like he's really making a big deal out of something that isn't really a big deal. But I feel like he should handle this in a more professional way. To say that, you know, he's talking about the bridges need to be built. Bridges, and the thing is, the reason they denied application wasn't because he was from Africa. I mean, it could have been because they have some real serious problems with the people who are in the country. So, with that being said, I just feel like, you know, we are building connections. We could work on it better, absolutely. But I don't think he should just he shouldn't just slander the entire region because of his interactions that didn't turn out the way he thought they should. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate that, Black Steel. In the chat, I saw some stuff I wanted to read. Trigger Happy 262 Plus says, I think everywhere in the African world there is a radical element, a pathetic element, and reactionary element. Just because Africa isn't well doesn't mean when one says it in other parts, it's wrong. I'll let Buana respond to that later. Got to get them to define themselves as African. He's responding to him. Buana was talking about how the Caribbean, the work the Caribbean has done, and how much more work we need to do in terms of our Africanness. And he says, got to get them to define themselves as African. I don't do African roots or African ancestry or African descendants. Either you are African or not. And African is not strictly geographical, which I agree with. Yeah, so those were some of the comments.
Tell the African, I'm sorry, because I don't want to jump in front of my brother Anthony McFall. Tell the African Union that, because when Haiti was trying to establish themselves as far as being an African country, they was not permitted in. And what's one of the North African countries, Koku? I can't remember exactly what it is. They didn't permit Haiti. They permit Morocco in, but they only have Haiti as an observer. And Haiti is one of the most African countries outside and inside of Africa, as in the world. Why I say that? Because Haiti, as their religion, state religion. I'm sorry, am I yelling? I drink this alcohol on people, so I'm sorry if I'm yelling. But as their state religion, Haiti said voodoo is our state religion. Which African country has an African religion as their state religion outside of Haiti saying that voodoo is our religion? Name one in the 51 countries on the continent, please.
I think Benin is one.
Benin is one. And many people say the people of Benin they are descendants of Haitians. So if you say Benin, that's one. That's one black steel. That's one. We in the West, the Africans in Haiti right now, they are, I mean, really, you know what I mean? A lot of them, if you do a blood sampling, DNA sampling, you would see many of them are 100% African because they didn't go through the odd mixtures as in these other territories. So some of them are 100% African. 100% African. How African religions, their culture is still primarily African, especially in the countries. So if what you want us, I'm bugging. I'm sorry. I'll just let Anthony go. I'm bugging.
No, hey, go ahead, Coco. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. Bonnie, you were screaming, and I didn't like your delivery, so therefore I give a middle finger.
I apologize. I apologize, Coco. You are right. I apologize.
Right. Anthony, go ahead. Take it away.
Okay, I got a few things to say, Coco. Give me a little patience. Okay, the first thing what Bonnie was talking about, because we was just talking about it in our study group the other day about how when Haiti applied for membership in the African Union. Okay, and I thought about it. I said, do you know? They gave Morocco, which is a country where black people in Africa get enslaved at. Okay, but not only that, I was thinking about. I said, okay, they said, well, the criteria is that Haiti is not a part of the African continent. You know, it's thousands of miles away. And then I thought about something for a minute. I said, ain't Mauritius a part of the African Union? You know, Mauritius. Y'all heard of Mauritius?
Yeah, quasi-black Indian, almost like Ghana. You know?
Listen, all I know about Mauritius is that's where the dodo bird used to be at. That's where the dodo bird was. That's all I know about Mauritius.
Yeah, check this out. Mauritius is 900 to 1,000 miles off the coast of Africa. 68% of the population, this has a population of about 1.2 million. 68% of the people are East Indian, or people from the Indian subcontinent. About 27% of the people are of mixed African and European, mostly French ancestry. So this is a country that's really an East Indian country. But guess what? It's a member of the African Union. You know what I'm saying? It's a member of the African Union, a member of the original OAU. A country that is almost 70% East Indian. Hindu. But Haiti couldn't get membership. And look here, and it's 1,000 miles off the coast of Africa. So it's not on the continent of Africa. Okay, I wanted to address that right there because Born had brought that up. Okay. The other thing was, I've been following Bishop Joshua Mopongo for a minute. Okay, no, I was disappointed in Wody Maya. Because like I said, he been in Jamaica for about 3 or 4 months. And them people showed him nothing but love. They look, I mean, look at he got video. I got videos of him saying, man, they love me in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? And for him to it's not that he said anything, but it's that he co-signed with what Bishop was talking about. You know why Bishop's saying this? Bishop had a bad experience in Antigua, and and big up to Tim Hector out of Antigua, man. Tim Hector, one of my greatest heroes. But he talked about Antigua, and he also, I think he talked about he went to the Dominican Republic. He was talking about how racist it was, in which he was right about that. But like him painting that broad picture of the Caribbean, when it was just a couple of places that he went to, well, that was real bad for him. That'd be like me. I'll come up to Buana, I'll come up to Koku, and I'll say some shit like, I judge y'all by Lyndon Penley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, please.
Who used to be who used to be the Prime Minister of the Bahamas? If I came up and said, and I looked at Koku, and I looked at Buana, I said, well, I know Lyndon Penley, so I'm gonna judge him by y'all. I'm gonna judge y'all by him, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm old enough to remember Lyndon Penley. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, look here. If I came up to a person from Dominica and I judged them by that sister, what's her name? Who was the first Prime Minister of Dominica? That sister that sister who was the Caribbean face of the invasion of Grenada.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember my name right now. The sister, she was the first Prime Minister of Dominica.
I can't remember my name either.
Yeah. But I mean, if I lay there and I judge, that sister Mia Motley, I don't care what it is about. I love that lady, man. Man, that woman does a lot. She's done a lot. She's done a lot already. You know what I'm saying? You can say, well, people say things, they say it's gonna always say stuff about you. But like one of the main things she was trying to do, she was trying to get this communication thing, like the transportation thing, correct between Africa and the diaspora, mainly the Caribbean. And Jamaica had made a lot of strides towards it too. Like I say, the Water Mile been in Jamaica about 6 months. You know what I'm saying? I mean, man, I looked at all them videos. Man, them people love Wody Maya. Man, they love the hell out of Wody Maya in Jamaica. And Bishop Mopongo, okay, he talk about I have big respect for him, man. I've been listening to him for a couple of years. But you got to remember, his name is Bishop Mopongo, and he come out that Christian tradition. He tried to black it up a little bit, but I think he still got some of that residue of that bullshit on it, though. Well, I'm saying, you can talk about how you can't come here. Man, you can't leave from South Africa to go to Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? You can't leave. You could be on the continent in Africa, and you could be in Togo, West Africa, and try to get to Abuja, Nigeria, and can't get there. I mean, you might have to lay there and go circumnavigate all around the continent just to get there. You know what I'm saying? They got all kind of trade, all kind of air restrictions and stuff over there. You had to go to Europe. You had to leave Africa and go to Europe to go to some countries in Africa. So I'm saying, that thing there. I mean, that in the Caribbean, that old air transportation. They got that in Africa. And I just think that, he may have got in his feelings or something, and. Because what the people did too. He felt like he was treated bad or something. And just lay there and say, "Oh man, I thought we was cool, man. We black unity and all that." And and he just got it. I think he got in his feelings. And just and cast the aspersions on all of the people of the Caribbean. No, I mean, I could never do that. Like I said, man, I couldn't lay there and walk up to Barn or walk up to Koku and say, yeah, man, I don't like you because I don't like Lyndon Bentley. You know what I'm saying? I'd knock off right there, man.
I appreciate that, Anthony. In the chat, I was saying the PM's name was Charles, and it is, but it's Eugenia Charles.
Eugenia Charles.
Yeah. Only in the chat says the idea that no black person should be refused is naive. Shout out to God 246, by the way, who told us it was Eugenia Charles. So shout out to you. Brother Bakari's out there too. He said Buana and his rum. Trigger Happy said, good point to Anthony. I like geography, so I came across Moratorius. This is why people have to be exposed to cultural geography. An African is a geocultural group / race, or even pan-ethnic in nature. Does anyone have any last thoughts on this prompt? All right. We're making damn good time. We'll finish out at 11. Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 tonight. Says LMAO, laughing my ass off. Why did LL start with quote unquote he, she? This came with this is like a prompt, but this came with a link.
That must be only. Man, that must have been only, man.
Come on.
He started the show off with that he.
Everyone claims she's a he.
Was a man.
Let me start at the beginning.
Who the fuck is this?
Remember in the warning video when Biggie's pager went off at 5:46 in the morning? Well, guess who's laid up behind him? And when LL Cool J starts his verse on the Flavor in Your Ear remix, guess who appears behind him? When Choke No Joke made this claim a few years back, I didn't think much of it until I went back to rewatch the videos. I mean, why exactly would LL start with? And in the Big Papa video, there's a clip when there's a woman using the men's bathroom, standing up.
Do you think that the Adam's apple popping out of a man's neck has something to do with this?
Now, I'm not saying this is an issue. Nobody told Biggie. Alright. So this is the scene in the Big Papa video when Biggie walks over and takes the girl Busta Rhymes was talking to. The only thing is, everyone claims she's a he.
Was a man.
Okay, let me start at the beginning.
Who the fuck is this?
Remember in the warning video when Biggie's pager went off at 5:46 in the morning? Well, guess who's laid up behind him? And when LL Cool J starts his verse on the Flavor in Your Ear remix, guess who appears behind him? When Choke No Joke made this claim a few years back, I didn't think much of it until I went back to rewatch the videos. I mean, why exactly would LL start with? And in the Big Papa video, there's a clip when there's a woman using the men's bathroom, standing up.
Do you think that the Adam's apple popping out of a man's neck has something to do with this?
Now, I'm not saying this is an issue. Each to their own.
That's what I do, bro.
But what if nobody told Biggie?
Yeah.
He, she.
You know,
Man, who came up with this
This guy is really.
No, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I say it's wild.
But Biggie does get, God damn it, Biggie does get some flack for some rhymes that he did, but a lot of people don't realize he was quoting like Richard Pryor jokes and stuff like that. It wasn't really him saying that; he was really quoting someone else. So I'll give him that benefit of the doubt. But I saw this and I can remember, well, vaguely now. I can remember these videos, but I never. I'm pretty sure we had questions about some of this shit back in the day, but I don't remember the full context of the videos, etc. So I can't really say anything from that standpoint. Maybe Black Steel might remember. Black Steel would say you.
I don't remember this lady. The evidence is very, very flimsy, right? Talking about stuff in a video, so it's not enough for me to even really speak on. It's almost comical in a way, but I'm looking at this from the outside, like, what are we talking about here? Like, this is crazy. This is humorous. It kind of reminds me of, you got the white conservatives, the white racists, how they say Michelle Obama's a man, and they got all these different pictures, things like that, and they're trying to claim that Michelle Obama is secretly Michael, and they're not the Obama's real parents. That's a lot of bullshit. I've noticed that a lot of these things are people claiming that black women are really men. They're really trying to deny black women a level of femininity. So I'm not taking this with any level of seriousness. It sounds like just somebody posting stuff off of YouTube and making little jokes and whatnot. It's just, you find a few coincidences. Oh, Mike Busta Rhymes, and he, she, and then, she was standing to a urinal, and that's really a man. Like, come on, bro, you can do better than that. Or maybe you can't do better. I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Black Suit, what do you think the he, she was? Because one time ago, the man from the West Coast, he had the heezy for sheezy. I'm trying to remember, was that a play on that or something? But what do you think the actual he, she was about?
I don't know what that was. If I had to guess, I think it might have been something like for sheezy, he, she. Maybe he cut that off, but I don't think that was anything. I think it's just more of a coincidence than anything else. I don't put too much stock in this. Like, let me see some real evidence. I don't think there's anything else.
All right, Buana, what say you?
I don't think that Biggie would.
Black Steel, would you hit?
Yeah.
If she's a woman, yeah.
If she's a woman,
if she's a woman, I'm smashing all day.
Yeah. That's I can. Hey man, I'm not New York City, so I'm sure that it's a lot of attractive he, she's out there that I can't tell the difference in whether they're women or men. I never had that experience before. Y'all probably have that every day. If this chick is a man, she would have fooled me. She would have get me, because she looked like a woman to me. So I don't know. I never had that kind of experience, man. I had that kind of experience. I don't live in New York City, so maybe
the transgenders that I have had the experience.
Yes,
you should tell they're usually.
You can tell.
You could tell. Some of these motherfuckers have facial hair and shit. They don't even hide. They don't even try to hide it.
This crazy, man.
I think my man was wilding though. I don't think that. I think he was wild. He just tried to string together things. But really, this raises up a different kind of argument, because you see how social media could be manipulated, right, to create kinds of ideas that really wasn't there before. Because when we used to watch these videos back in the day, we would have never thought about these kinds of things. But in 2024, it's an issue. It's an issue to discuss now. So it's interesting how people can use the media and images to manipulate ideas. Malcolm X used to talk about this back in the day, in terms of the media creating devils and angels in what they are able to do. And now that we have the media at our fingertips, it's interesting how you could raise these kinds of questions when it wasn't there in the 90s when these videos was out. But that's the world we live in right now, But I'll leave it.
Let's welcome in our boy, Brother Bakari, this week. Brother Bakari, first of all, how are you?
I'm
good?
Great, man. Absolutely magnificent. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming through. Bakari, you're a little bit older than me, but do you remember this video? Do you remember the context?
I don't remember it like that. Then they showed the dude standing up pissing in the dress. What I do remember what LL Verse Day though, when he said he, she, blow tissues, delicious. I have no idea how a he, she, and getting a blow and being delicious go in the same verse. But that's literally that's his verse in that song. But when you say you can tell, like, what's the name of that song Beyonce had when they was just shaking their booty? The lead dancer, one of the lead dancers in that was a man. You go
Is that
back,
right? Is
yeah.
that right? Wow.
You go back when I was younger, and you see Sean Connery, James Bond, 007, one of a couple of his movies. One of those women he was laying in the bed with, being with, was a man. That was back in the 80s. They've been putting, yes, they've been putting this. They've been putting this up in our face, and we just didn't we just didn't know it. But yeah, the choreographer of that dance that Beyonce them did in that video, and the dude was in the video. But what they did, you see the video, he never like by himself, so it's other women around, but you looking at the video and you're looking at women and you really think that's not, but one of them is a man. One of those dancers, one of the lead dancers was a man. So
Bakari, you were talking about Grace Jones. Grace Jones is a woman, you know.
I ain't saying nothing about Grace Jones. What you talking about?
You talking about 007 back in the day? Grace Jones, 007?
I said Sean Connery. I said back in the 80s, man, Sean Connery. You too young for that.
Oh, okay.
You remember when Sean Connery was James Bond 007? He was the first one. You remember Sean Connery? Yeah, 007. Yeah. Yeah. If you look it up, if you can look it up, you can see it was at least one. I think it was two movies where one of them was one of his girlfriends in the movie was actually a man. And Biggie got flack for quoting Richard Pryor because Richard Pryor was actually gay. You can't be quoting. You can't be quoting no gay stuff coming from no gay man. Or maybe he didn't know Richard Pryor was gay, but it still sounded gay anyway. Girl, you so
Why
fine.
you say Richard Pryor was gay, Bakari? Why you say that?
Because he was gay.
Why you say he gay?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
He want to suck some loose dick. What do you mean? How you know he's gay?
Richard Pryor was bisexual, at least.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He was bisexual.
He gay.
I say the same thing.
He literally.
He's a Pam Grier. He's a Pam Grier. How is he?
The dude.
He was with Marlon Brando.
The dude that played in the movie, yeah, right there. Him and the dude lived together for like 3 or 4 months.
Is that right? You sure he wasn't joking and things like that? You sure? Get it over his joke.
Oh,
he used to fuck with Marlon Brando.
Man, the dude was a fag. Pardon my French on your panel. The dude was gay, man.
Wow.
He and Marlon Brando was in a relationship.
Yeah, him and Marlon Brando was in a relationship.
They say Richard Pryor was gay.
He just ruined his whole childhood.
He admitted that white woman he was married to, that he married twice, talked about it. Pam Grier say when she found out that when she stopped, but she say she think that what made her sick was dealing with him. With Richard Pryor, man, Richard Pryor was gay.
Yeah, he was.
Let me ask you a question. You know his friend, right? What's the guy, the comedian named the old man? Because Paul Mooney. So Paul Mooney gay too. That
boy, Louisiana.
Yeah,
he was.
I believe
he's gay.
It's the Paul Mooney mistake.
We used to see him when I was a kid. We used to see him.
Matter of fact, watch the what they call that when they be cracking on you when they doing something for you, talking your personal stuff.
Roast.
Richard Pryor roast him. Richard Pryor was bragging on how Paul Mooney gave him a blowjob.
Is that right? That's right. I gotta watch that.
Don't watch Richard Pryor when he was with Gene Wilder and he's setting up there high as hell and he talking about how he liked to hang with Gene Wilder because when he was Gene Wilder, all the little pretty white boys come to you.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, this is old. I don't say that y'all just know this was old news. We've been knowing this.
Yeah, Richard.
I didn't.
Born a damn tether. That's the problem.
We've been knowing this a long time ago.
No, I didn't know that.
But back to that video, man. It ain't no telling how many other videos they have stuck men. They have stuck men in there. Ain't no telling. And I still don't get the reference when they say he, she, blow tissues, delicious. That's what he said. If you don't believe me, go listen to his verse. That's what he said. That's what he said in the song. I don't know. I ain't saying and ain't no way if they did a video and Biggie was laying down in the bed with that thing, ain't no way he ain't know. It ain't no way. Even in the video, what they showed, now I don't know, I don't just really remember like that, but even in the video, they showed the dude, what didn't they show him standing up, raising up his skirt, peeing in the video?
Hey, check this out, brother Bakari. Real quick, let me interview real quick. You remember he had a song, that album that he made before he died, Biggie, where he had the song called, I can't remember the name of the song, only probably know it from New York. Any of y'all from New York probably know it. But it was like, what he started off with a song like Hail Mary full of grace, slap the bitch in the face, all that old shit right there. Remember, it's a part where he said, well,
it's called Dead Wrong. Dead Wrong.
But check it out. Remember this part where he said, well, he had like kicked in the door like this guy and his sister. And he said where he put the broomstick up his ass and shit. Remember that part right there?
Wow.
Where he said, well, the boy wanted him to fuck him. He said, Smalls don't get down like that.
I'm gonna be honest. If it didn't play on the radio, I wouldn't have heard it. I was not. I would say Biggie was okay, and people get mad when I say that. He was okay. He was not no better. I never bought him.
I don't care about rappers, but I mean, but you know what? Y'all know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah, Eminem was on the song with him.
Yeah. You're dead wrong, yeah. Well, he said that part right there, talking about the man wanted him to wanted to hit him in the ass and shit. You know what I'm saying?
But you know,
hey, Biggie say some wild stuff over there. What's beef when he say his friend is have sex with little children and throw them over the bridge. I'm like, man, that's your friend? That's your friend? Yeah. That's wild.
Don't you know my nigga gonna fucking kidnap kids? Fuck them in the ass over the bridge. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then just check out like stuff like, hey, remember,
listen to that stuff DMX say.
Yeah, and remember what what's his name said? What Big Daddy Kane? He said, I fuck them 8 to 80, black cripple and crazy. Look here, 8 to 80. 8 to 80.
Now, DMX lost me when he said, what is that one song? You got a daughter older than 15, I'm a raper. I'm like, hold on, nigga.
I'm a raper.
Hold on, nigga. Hold on.
Yeah,
DMX said that song. Yeah, he lost me with that one. I was like, I was jamming to the song. He said, oh shit, hold on, buddy. Slow down.
He said he got some songs with some gay references too, especially talking about in prison and how they gonna run up in somebody in prison. I had DMX CDs, but I can't remember none of it. I can't. But yeah, he
some kind of ritual or something that they go through in that business. You know, where you got to bend over and all that old filthy mess. You know what I'm saying?
He said some he said some gay stuff too.
Yeah, all of them.
But I do believe they probably have. But they probably have put other men in the video and surround other women, because if you see that video right there, even right there, you see Superhead right there. Matter of fact, Superhead is my homeboy cousin. But you see Superhead.
No. I met her one time.
You see Superhead.
How was she?
Huh?
No, I was at the event that she was at.
Yeah, how was she?
I just met. I didn't talk to her. I just seen her.
Damn, you doing the wrong thing, boss.
No, man, I ain't want that
for that.
Bakari, finish your thought because you got interrupted a few times. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I can just imagine how many other videos or movies or whatever they stuck a man in that was dressed like a woman, and nobody knew. Shit, that ain't nothing new doing that to Biggie. Oh Lord, especially today, ain't no telling how many you watch. If you watch a video,
that's true. That's true.
Right.
I remember the movie Too Wong Fu when Wesley Snipes play a woman.
Yeah, that was pitiful. That was pitiful.
Yeah, that was bad because he had already established himself like as an action guy, and then went and did that whole shit with Tu Wong Fu. I was asking because I can't remember. I don't think I got to Oni yet. Who else did I not get to?
Me.
Did I get the ball? Oh, okay. Anthony, what say you?
I just say, man, to me, they just trying to push that LGBT agenda. That's what they've been trying to push it for a long time. You could go all the way back to them Dolomite movies. You know what I'm saying? Well, what Dolomite had, the transvestites or something. You go all the way back to that. But they're trying to push that. They're trying to push that agenda to normalize it. And it's not just because white people just despicable, which they are. But I'm saying, it goes to like things like not only just the feminizing of black males, but I mean population control, all that stuff. You remember that's why they pushing it so hard on the continent of Africa. You got Obama going over there talking about hey, the government of Ghana just passed some legislation, like some anti-LGBT shit. They just said, no, that shit ain't gonna fly over here. I mean, they just did this. They said that shit ain't gonna fly over here. They passed well, you'll get a prison sentence for that shit. No, you're not gonna do that shit out in public. You're not gonna beat out loud and all of those shit over here. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Ugandan government did something like that too. But you remember Obama? He went to Kenya when Uhuru Kenyatta was there and said that, well, unless you accept this LGBT thing, we ain't gonna give you the same treatment. They pushing it real heavy in South Africa. It's a strong movement of it in South Africa. You know what I'm saying? You can listen to that. No, I love Brother Julius Malema, but like he say, yeah, we got to have equality for everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
say that. He does say that. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, including the LGBT community. You know what I'm saying? And hey, you all us know a man and a woman getting together, we make babies. We make babies, we make families. We build a nation. I mean, a man and a man don't make nothing but a mess. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing coming from that. And so, I mean, they pushing. I think that they seriously, they're stepping up their game, pushing it. I mean, you got them all coming at right now. They trying to pass legislation. I think they already did in America. What I know they trying to. That what a woman is. You know what I'm saying? So okay, Beyonce is a woman, but what's that faggot? What's his name is? The one who wear the wig, be on some TV show, Laverne, something like that. He a woman. You know what I'm saying? No, man, you ain't no goddamn woman. But like they trying to make like a trans man be a woman. They get some places where they try to go into the bathrooms with sisters and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just a part of our agenda, man. Like I said, it's tied into a lot of shit. It's tied into feminizing brothers, but it's also tied into population control. You know what I'm saying? And because if you got a whole bunch of gays, you can't make no more babies. And yeah, I ain't making
Hey, one of the things, Anthony, though, what I would say for the black men, universally, I feel like it's been universally accepted that black men don't really effort that homosexual transgender. I mean, that's almost like universally. Yeah, in America, in the Caribbean, in Africa, in South, the brothers don't business with that. The brothers don't business with that.
But Barna, this is my problem. This is my problem with it right there, Barna. They're trying to push it in schools on our children. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to push it in our schools on our children. See, me and you, we know how to discern that shit. But they're trying to push this shit on our children.
Children, yeah.
You could decide your gender. You seen Dwayne Wade's son the other day, Zaya.
Yeah, cut his dick off. He cut his penis off, right?
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm saying they pushing this shit on our children. And see, that's why we got to fight it, because they pushing it on our babies.
Nah, hold up a second. He cut his penis off?
That's what I heard.
No, he did not.
I hope not.
Good.
No, but that's what they were saying, though.
He did it. The doctor did.
Good. Because if the little boy changes his mind, that's a problem.
Yeah. See, that's my only problem, man. Like, I understand all us on this panel, all us brothers, we know we can discern with that. But what about our children? Because see, we in a time and period now. Well, look at one time in rap. You had one time rap was gangster rap, and don't give me boy that shit. That death music was bullshit. But at least one thing about it, they had the image of a masculine guy. Now you look at them, you got motherfuckers roll around in dresses and shit. You know what I'm saying? They rode around in dresses. They rode
Yeah,
around.
yeah. I'm like, man, I'm messed up in the game because I'm thinking, I'm looking at these dudes with these tight pants on and shit. I'm like, man, what the hell is this?
They went from baggy pants to skinny jeans. You know what I'm saying? And you look, and now you got them like, what's Rihanna's boyfriend? He running around wearing something like a kilt, whatever. And you got Pharrell on the cover of the magazine, and I don't know what the hell he was. It looked like a dress to me. You know what I'm saying?
You know what though? I say, my bro, Anthony, I say never. I say I'll never accept it. One of these days we're gonna be considered to be the people the men who practicing alternative lifestyles, because the mainstream will be completely homosexual, transsexual, whatever, and we could be like the people on the periphery. But I accept that. I okay with that. If I have to rear my children and grow them in a way to say, man, we antithetical to them beliefs, man. That's Babylon system. The Rastas haven't had it right from long back in the day when they say that's Babylon system. That's Babylon system. I don't accept that. Never.
Yeah. But look how they did it. Because see, they started in the late 60s. And you know what? And they all, this is what they do. Look at it now. The LGBT thing, the alphabet people thing now. What they do, you look at commercials, you'll see a big old brother with pink hair, a yellow hair on a commercial. You know what I'm saying? Acting real feminine, acting real dramatic. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll see what this old faggot, his Billy Porter on his husband picking him up. You know what I'm saying? You see this stuff on TV. But think about it, go back to the late 60s. And regrettably, I hate to say it, but with the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party, when you get into that, and I love Dr. Huey P. Newton, one of my heroes, right here from Louisiana. What I'm saying, when you get into what he was talking about, the intercommunalism, they started branching off into feminism, and yes, of course, women's need equal rights. Okay, but then guess what they started going into? The Black Panther boys start going into the gay struggle too. After that 1969 Stonewall shit, what the faggots they wanted their rights. And that's cool. Everybody should be equal. But what happened? They started making the gay rights, the gay liberation. They had a gay liberation movement in the late 60s, early 70s. They started correlating that with the Black civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? Our struggle is just like y'all's. You know what I'm saying? No, you're a white person and you're a gay person. You could be white and gay. You just stay your ass in the car. Don't nobody know nothing about you. You know what I'm saying? But they trying to relate their situation with ours. And see, now they done laid there and switched that shit and made us the face of the shit. So you see brothers on albums and CDs and all this stuff wearing dresses. Or you see these faggots on coming on award shows wearing dresses and wigs and dressed up like women. You know what I'm saying? It's an agenda, man. It's an agenda, and they trying to use us as the basis of. Remember when the president of Kenya had showed that video? He said, "I want to show y'all." When Obama was threatening him, he said, "I want to show y'all something." And he had a group of people. It was Uhuru Kenyatta. He had a group of people, and he put a gay porn video up there, and he was showing them. And he said, people, you can hear the people out there, this disgusted. He said, this is what they want us to do. No, this is what they want us to do. They said, if we don't accept this, we ain't going to get aid and all that stuff from right there. Now, I done went on long enough, man. I'm going to knock off, man. Let somebody else talk. My bad, Coco.
It's okay. I think Oni's the last person to speak anyway. Oni heard everything everyone else had to say. What say you to this? Shoot the Breeze topic number 5. Laughing my ass off. Why did LL start with he, she? Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say two things. One, it does look like this person has a Adam's apple. Hold on a second. That looks like somebody that person has a Adam's apple, so that's a little bit confusing. Because if it is a woman, you know, it's kind of weird, right? But LL Cool J also did that he she thing in Fatty Girl. You know, because I accidentally, but I clicked on that Fatty Girl. You know, show my son some culture, I guess. And he does do, you know, he does he she. Wait, how does he do it again? Well, he said it like twice in the same song, but you know, but yeah. So I don't know why he says it. It's kind of random. But as far as like the Biggie being on that sus list, like it's just countless. You know, one of his lyrics, there's this song, I think it's his freestyle, Wickedest Freestyle. I used to like it as a kid. But he goes, you know, N-words plus they luckin', they get a butt fucking straight up the ass, raw dog with the rash. And you're like, what does that mean? Like, in retrospect, you're like, what does that mean? You know, and then, you know, Dreams where he'd rather mess with RuPaul than, you know, whomever. And he also mentions he wants to date rape Raven Simone. And you like look it up and you're like, Raven Simone was like 9 or some shit, you know, like 8 years old or some shit. So, and then of course, you know, I guess now in the news, because somebody brought it up, they were like, because like essentially Puff Daddy is being accused of sexually assaulting men and women right now. And I guess Meek Mills gets into it too or something. I don't know. I didn't follow it. But you know, people are like, you know, what's it got to do with Biggie, right? But like on the real, you know, from what my understanding was people were saying back in the day, they were like, Biggie might have been the real gangster, and Tupac might have just been playing one. You know what I mean? But not just that. Biggie might have been on that. You know, like he tells you in the raps, you know, I'm fucking dudes without their consent. You know what I mean? I wanna mess with a child celebrity. That type of shit. You know, I'd rather mess with RuPaul than, you know, them ugly ass escape bitches, you know, which is like, you know, again, you hear it and you're like, aha, that's funny. But like, you know, it's kind of funny, you know what I'm saying? like it's kind of like, I don't know if I would have said that, you know? Like, I mean, I definitely wouldn't have said that. But like, yeah, a lot of rap was sus. I'm just kind of confused, like, because this lady, if it's a lady, does low key look a little bit like a dude and does have an Adam's apple, you know? But at the same time, it's like, I hope it's not I hope it's not a dude, you know? And I guess this guy made a joke. Wait, y'all think it's a dude or y'all think it's a woman?
No, man. It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
Hey, owner.
face kind of like a dude, you know, like kind of like a dude I might know. But
Hey, owner.
Like, yeah, what's up?
Hey, owner, you remember when what's his name? Rick Ross had that song where he said he was standing next to Puffy in skinny jeans with no drawers on.
He said Rick Ross said what?
Rick Ross said, I'm standing next to Puffy with skinny jeans and no drawers on.
Oh, pause. Well, I mean, I think people knew back in it. Like, I remember back in like 20 years ago, people were saying they think Puffy gay because that one dude he was hanging out with, the guy.
Yeah, that white boy Clive Davis.
Yeah, they pretend to be a butler and shit. Like that was like
he was a racist homosexual. Me and my wife used to have that conversation all the time, and she used to tell my late wife. I used to tell her all the time, man. Ever since I first saw Puffy P Diddy, well, I said he was gay, and I'm just saying he was gay because I was just what some old school folks. Like I told you, I got old folks. What they taught me, you see a man walking around talking about how pretty he is and worry about his hair all the time. I would learn as a little boy, something wrong with that man.
Mm-hmm.
I said ever since I first seen him, she's like, he ain't gay. Yeah, she knew Biggie, so she thought that dude gay. I ain't Big gay, but did a gay. If he gay, shit, that's him. Long as he ain't trying to make me gay. That's
I heard he was sexually assaulting dudes and forcing dudes and women to like do shit. You know, like yeah, he was a predator. I mean, apparently he's a predator. But like yeah, Biggie, like I said, Biggie was like a low down thug in real life. You know, and that's the trouble that's like the bigger narrative that we let these low down thugs, you know, have a big platform in our community. You know, say what you want. Like the last two entertainers we just saw, Walter Maya and I don't know that guy's name, but they seem like respectable dudes. Like I don't know.
They're good.
I don't know if they like clean. As far as I can tell, the South African guy probably just smoking weed up in Jamaica. You know. Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to say. how when this dude say y'all should get a passport, it's cool. But when I say it, it's like, oh man, this motherfucker. But anyway, but anyway, what I'm saying was, but like, yeah, like those guys are respectable entertainers. But these guys, like Biggie was talking about how to kill people in a very horrific way, like setting the building on fire and shooting them as they run outside, which I heard is like they do that shit in Jamaica too, right? But what I mean, probably do it all over the world, really. But it's like Biggie's rapping about that shit. He's rapping about forcing himself on dudes. He's rapping about STDs and sucking women's dicks and shit. Sucking the woman's father's dick and shit. And but these are people that, like, to this day, people are like, yeah, man, you remember that guy? Like, no, we have a problem in our community where a lot of the people with like you would not expect to have a big platform have a big platform. Bill Cosby did a lot of good stuff, sure, but the dude was like a predator too. Bill Cosby, if not Bill Cosby, there's also, Jay-Z shot his brother, all sorts of dumb shit. We have to like I think that's something that we have to go back to. So even though I was saying about the other dudes before, oh, they just entertainers. What they get in the audience with the president and prime minister? I don't think they should have the audience, but still, they are a better example. They're, at least I can say that white folk ain't put them in front of us. They put themselves in front of us and we went along with it. That's fine. But these like Biggie, Tupac to some degree, I don't know. All these other people, these white folk put them in front of us, and then we're, whatever. But like as far as this lady, I don't know. I think LL Cool J says he, she all the time. It does sound cool and shit, but I don't know why he does it. But that's it, I'll say.
Yeah, that thing you just said too. You listed a few people. I think one person you missed, and I actually, me and him about the same age. I actually liked him because I was a young college student when he came out. But Snoop Dogg is one of those guys. Snoop Dogg is one of those guys who represent a lot of bullshit. Let's be real.
Yeah.
We had C. Dolores Tucker and them out here in the States. I was still home then, but out here in the States, we used to get the news about them protesting guys like that. And then like 20 years, 25 years later, Snoop could go on the radio just a few years ago and said, I think maybe Calvin Butts and C. Dolores Tucker was right. Motherfucker, the damage is done now.
Yeah, you did it all.
You did it already.
Yeah.
You said fuck them when you was doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's still cool.
We would allow them folks. We would still give them guys a platform. We would allow them folks back in the community. I have an issue with that. Does anyone have any last thoughts?
Well, I'll admit this. I don't like the West Coast. I never liked the West Coast. I thought East Side till no, I'm joking. But what I can say is, yeah, gangster rap came about. And it was probably one of the worst things you could have. Because like I said, when hip hop first come through, when hip hop first went commercial, they were all hip hop, hip. You know what I'm saying? And before it was commercial, they were talking about crack is whack, black is beautiful. That they were sampling different, artists from the 60s, sampling different, activists from the so on and so forth. But not only did when hip hop went commercial, it was still kind of clean, Yeah. But then the gangster rap came about, the NWAs and shit, the Edward, and that shit just threw black people down. Y'all, I said there's this video circulating on the internet right now. You play with no audio. Look like some boy sitting down possessed, and all he doing is when you turn on the audio, all he's doing is rapping about killing his friends and shit. Like killing people around him, killing people his age grade. That's the kind of society that yeah, there's a huge decline, but like Snoop Dogg, I never liked that guy because like I said, I was low-key, I was East Coast, and I'm really just upset with Biggie because I used to rhyme Biggie hard, and then like in retrospect, you get older and you're like, why am I talking about butt fucking dudes? You know what I mean? Like I didn't know I was saying that, but like at some point you start listening to the lyrics and you're like, what do you mean? Like we don't go like butt fucking to do like what? Why would that even be a thing to say? Like if I had to rhyme a word, like I would probably say, I don't know, truck ducking or something. I'd rather say truck ducking than butt fucking. I'll be honest. But like right now, my artists, I'll just say that. Let's throw it out. KRS-One, Lauryn Hill. That's pretty much. That's pretty. I mean, that's not my whole list, but like that's pretty much it.
No Black Star, no Black Star, no Most Steph, no Most Steph.
How do you like Snoop, man, falling back on that ass like a hell with the hellified gangster lean, getting funk on the mic like a whole batch of collard green? How you didn't like Snoop? It's the capital SOUSNOOP. DOWGYDOWG. You see, I'm from Mississippi. We ain't listening to too much East Coast shit, man. When you got past Georgia, that's why I said I never owned anything Biggie. But
because the same thing, because I'm from Louisiana, and from my hometown, the king of the Crips was born in my hometown, Tookie Williams. He's from here. Yeah, he's from here. And what I'm saying, all of that, man, and like at the time, because I was a part of the problem back then. But I'm saying, when I look back on when I came in the country, I was like, man, this shit here, man. Man, these brothers put out some deaf shit. But I don't just look at them. I look at who was behind them pushing this shit too.
I'm gonna tell you something. I was always someone in the conscience, and I tell people I had 1 foot out and I had 1 foot on my foundation. I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew because I was raised different, but I just liked it. But
I was almost recruited to the Nation of Islam when I was 17. Now I'm 57 now.
It's some only said though about degeneracy in our community, how they be. That was Koku who said how these people can still get platforms.
Yeah.
That is some Plies just spoke about after that 7-on-7 fight with Cam Newton. Yeah. And Plies spoke about going to these 7-on-7 camps. We respect that. Somebody asked me today, do you watch BMF? I'm like, what the hell is BMF?
Yeah.
The show about what the drug dealer dude. What's his name?
Big Meech.
Yeah. And I said, that's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Because I got past that stage. That's counterproductive to what I believe and how I get down. I said, if they're going to do something about a drug dealer, an alleged drug dealer, won't they do one about Jeff Fort? But you know why they ain't going to do one about Jeff Fort? Because Jeff Fort, after he went to jail for selling drugs, got out, Jeff Fort did something, came back, started organizations, bought up about 4 blocks of black communities, got homeless people off the street, gave people jobs, fed people. So they ain't going to do nothing about him. He ended up being in jail for the rest of his life in the state of Illinois with no proof. They railroaded Jeff Fort from Amory, Mississippi. He was in Chicago. Won't they talk about Larry Hoover, who did growth and development? But we allow stuff like that in those type of people to become superstars. And I'm not saying we the only people do it, but I'm only concerned about my people. And everybody bragging, ooh, he get out early. But how many people came up missing under his watch? How many people came up missing under his watch? And we gonna be bragging, he getting out early. Who cares? I'm being honest, really, who cares? I know some people want to get rid of prison. I'm one of the people that say some folks need to be up in. I'm one of the people say some folks need to be up in there.
Yeah.
A lot of folks came up missing up under those people watch. But like Koku said, we give those people platforms. We give those people opportunities to make millions. Koku an educator, Black still an educator, only writing books. Why the hell y'all ain't getting those opportunities to make millions? Because our community, for some reason, our people, and I'm talking about the majority, they don't want to respect that. They don't respect that. Going to jail is way more respectful. And I understand when Anthony just said he look at who's behind it. Yeah, I can look at who's behind it as well. But I'm a firm believer in, man, eventually we got to take accountability. We can't just always say, white folks did it. We had a role in it too. And I understand why we had a role in it. People broke, people hungry, people need money. I understand why we had a role in it. That's why I don't judge the youth today about Sexy Red. I'm not gonna say nothing to them about Sexy Red because everybody on here, probably except me, listen to Lil Kim and watch Lil Kim. Lil Kim had a CD where she had on nothing but panties, brown, and mink coat. I didn't listen to that ish, and I didn't. And I told you I had one foot what I was supposed to be doing, and every now and then I ain't listening to no black woman carrying herself like that, but I'm not gonna beat up our youth today for listening to Sexy Red when that just make me that would make me absolutely hypocritical when my generation grew up listening to Lil Kim without a Foxy Brown, would there be a Sexy Red?
Brother Bakari, I have a question. For you and my brother from Louisiana. Mississippi is the birthplace of the blues. Why would I ever listen to a genre of so-called rap music when one of the best art forms of music ever came out in Mississippi? Mississippi could claim that. You from Glen Island. Why am I listening to rap music? I mean, the blues is some of the best music ever. And for you, Louisiana, Fats Domino was one of the best blues artists ever. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Wanna listen to me for a minute? 1 second. Okay, I know about all of that, but I say I also live. I'm 57. I was born in 1967. Okay, I done went through all of those music forms. I know about Fats Domino them. I know about all of the blues players. Hey, we got blues down there that you ain't never heard of. You probably ain't never heard of Swamp Blues. You probably ain't never heard of Zydeco.
No.
Hey, Bakari from Mississippi, but he know what Zydeco is. You know what I'm saying? We got all kind of music down here. I know about all. Hey, but look here. I would never come on this play. You know when we talked on Kofi's show, we talked about a lot of stuff. Now, I mean, I know about all of the music down here. But what I'm saying is that music at that time had such an impact. It had an impact, man. It did, because it had a bigger impact than a lot of stuff. I mean, that I call that deaf music. Man, don't you know that? Man, that music, don't you know that behind that music? I mean, I'm not just blaming the music. I'm blaming also our actions and stuff like that. But I got shot behind some bullshit like that. You know what I'm saying? I was part of the problem. I was doing shooting behind that. Listening to that kind of mess getting me hyped up. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, doing stuff that I probably would have did anyway, but it was helping me out. What I'm saying, so at that time, I mean, it was a bad time for black people, man, everywhere. I mean, when that kind of rap music came back, and that stuff was popular all over the country, and it was popular all over the world. Next thing you know, you was looking at brothers like Vibes Cartel and them, and brothers in the Caribbean doing gangster shit. They might have been doing it to a dance hall beat, but they were doing gangster
shit. Yeah, stupid shit. Yeah.
But why?
They were doing it. And then you came up now. You go to West Africa right now. All over the continent of Africa. You see brothers and sisters, female rappers, brother rappers saying, guess what their favorite word is? My nigga. You know what I'm saying? My nigga. They coming around talking about my nigga this, my nigga that. You know what I'm saying? And doing some of the same stuff. Doing some of the same, wearing the hairstyle, the stuff that you see African people in America doing. I ain't got to call the names, all of them. You look around and see sisters dropping it like it's hot every time you look at an African video. You know what I'm saying? At an Afrobeat video. Go to the Caribbean. You look at sisters, you see Spice and all of them dropping it like it's hot. I mean, all this, I mean.
What you know about Spice, Anthony?
I mean, man, Hey, if I know about Black Star and if I know about the Mighty Sparrow, I'm gonna know about these people.
Yeah. That's true. You know about the Sparrow, yeah.
What you know about Slow Down Dirty Blues, Bwan?
Oh man, I listen, man. I'm listening to Corey Harris and shit. Like I'm thinking that freaking Catfish Blues. I say to myself, why would I ever listen to any rap music? This is I don't know, man. Y'all on drugs.
Put some Robert Johnson on.
Let me tell you something.
Put some Robert Johnson on, McCarty.
If you listen to some Low Down Dirty Blues, you gonna see all the cussing and all the sex come in rap music in our culture. Shit, Muddy Waters, go back. Muddy Waters had a song in 1943 called Cocaine and Reefer.
Yeah.
I gotta listen to that one. I gotta listen to that one.
He had 1943. When you see that dancing, the only difference. Now, see, my mama used to say this, and then I remember going to the blues festival when I was little. The only difference, it wasn't all over TV. You would see some of that stuff we do, some of the stuff our women do, shaking their ass and twerking, is something we did in Africa anyway. Today over here, it's just been over sexualized. But if we are honest, our women do that anyway. For it ain't always about sex.
Hey, Bakari, tell about the Hoochie Coochie Man.
Oh,
tell about the Hoochie Coochie Man.
Yeah. All you got to do, if you listen to it, Bawana, you'll go all the way back. You'll be like, man. So this the sex, the drugs from the blues grew into sex, drug, and murder into hip hop. And then
R&B and then hip hop,
yeah. But it started a long time ago. Especially, I'm just saying, especially with the way our women dance. I used to wonder, I'm a little boy, I used to wonder why, you know, I go to that blues festival, you know, I'm looking, man, I'm getting my eyes full, all these booty black women out here, just, and I'm a little boy. But no, but that is something, I'm just being honest, it is something we did. So that generation.
If you could listen to some old Bessie Smith music, Buana, you would blush hearing some of the stuff she used to say.
Man, one of the first things I try to do is go to a juke joint when I get in Mississippi. I try to go to a juke joint, yeah. This is my shit, yeah. But it's all good though. It's all good. It's all good.
Hey, Bakari, you better tell about what the brother had that song called I Better Lay Another Log on the Fire.
Say it again. I know the one.
I better lay another log on the fire before my plane gets too low.
I want to play with your poodle. They said stuff. Now I can say we are grown now. So if we listen to it, we know what they're talking about. Now that is 12, 13, 14, 15. Yo, ain't gonna now. I wouldn't know a lot of time what they are talking about and what we call the low down dirty blues. They did cover it up like Muddy Water was talking. Some I'm up in here in the place to be. All the pretty women, I got some in my pocket I want y'all to see. The average child ain't gonna figure out what he's talking about saying, I got some in my pocket. but you grown, you know what he's telling the women.
Hey, Bakari, you know what I just thought about Clarence Carter? You could have said no cleaner.
I like Clarence Carter, man. I like Clarence Carter.
What he said, I be stroking.
Stroking to the east. Man, I played a song, a blues song they called Stand Up In It.
Stand up in it.
They say you can lick it.
You ain't did nothing till you stand up in it.
Lick it, you can stick it, but you ain't done nothing
till you stand up in it.
The best. It's the best. It's the best.
Put the Caribbean brothers on, man.
It's the best, brother. It's the best.
But the average 12, 13-year-old, maybe they don't understand when you say lick it and stick it. But most of the time, if you listen to blues, the average 12, 13, 14-year-old ain't gonna understand what they're talking about. The problem is today, shit, the 12, 13, 14-year-old, even a couple 9-year-old out here rapping
they know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, they know what's going on. Ain't nothing being hidden.
It's pitiful.
This one woman actually did a video. I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry. What? Remember, I played the video. The little 9-year-old kid from Atlanta rapping. He gonna steal a car. He gonna shoot the people tasing him. He going to get his bees. They gonna all give him a blowjob and so on and so forth. Him and his mama did an interview taking up for it. We just don't understand.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I do understand. I understand you pimping your little 9-year-old son out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the subtlety in music lyrics have just disappeared now, man. I mean, there was always, because I'm a big blues music fan, so I know about those songs Bakari is talking about. I know about that element of it, the sex, drugs, etc. But even still, a lot of times there was like real clever music. It was real subtle. They're talking about all kinds of fellatio and shit, but you didn't pick it up as a 13, 14. Yeah, you didn't pick it up. You didn't pick it up. So anyway, that's the show tonight. Before we go, before anyone leaves, let's shout something out positive we saw this week. Anthony, I'll start with you.
Yeah, man. Brother Obafemi, he hit me up this weekend, man. And they looking for a place to do an event, man. Like a race first thing, and with a lot of other stuff, man. They're trying to do an event, like brother Nine Obafemi. You know what I'm saying, Goku?
Yeah. From
Yeah,
MCE.
yeah, for MCE. So yeah, they he contacted me, man, and like we're trying to look around, see if we could get an event site down here. But he's looking for they did it on to put on a showcase, man, for their because they had their new music out. And also, they got they got a show too, man. They got a show that's been going for about a month. Yeah, they got a show where they be talking about different things. It's like a 30-minute. They got a show out, man. But check it out, man. Go to his site and check him out, man.
Okay, so
that's what I
appreciate that, Anthony. Nine Obafemi is one of the guys I interviewed some time back from MCE. They're the musician guys who are talking about their music and stuff like that. So yeah, you guys check out the channel, follow them to get updates on social media. Brother Bakari, you want to shout anything out this week?
You say shout something out positive. Well, about positive, I got two young sisters, one 19, one 18, that I've been talking to that's interested in Marcus Garvey. I gave both of them Marcus Garvey book this week, and they actually got to go see one tomorrow because she gonna finish it and she gonna let me know. And she gonna let me know about it. So I see some of the youth wanting to learn and want to come along. That's positive. And, oh yeah, and last night I saw two of the most beautiful jet black women I ever seen in my damn life. Now that's absolutely positive. that was absolutely.
I love that.
That's absolutely positive. But when you get a chance, y'all can check me out. I'm gonna do a show. I think I was gonna do it tonight, but I'm tired. But I'm gonna do one actually on what we finished the show talking about, how the negativity is praised in our neighbor by our people more than the positive. I understand everything we do is not positive, but I think we have more positive than negative, and we need to start focusing more on the positive and forget about these damn celebrities who want to put these street dudes and everybody from the street on pedestals and make movies after them and do this and do that and won't come back, and ain't trying to help the community. So that's what I want to say. Thanks for letting me speak.
I appreciate you, Bakari. Yeah, you guys make sure to check out Bakari's channel. Check him out. I'm sure he'll be on tomorrow. Oni, what would you like to shout out this week? Anything positive you saw?
Oh yeah, just now I saw. Matter of fact, it was the same city I wanted to go to, but Tanzania just got a power plant. They I guess they started it in 2019. It was at Rufiji River, the same damn river. I was like, yo, I want to go down to that city when I get to Tanzania, but then I got stuck because I was like, oh, I don't speak the language. But yeah, they were building a power plant there already. I was saying to myself, I want to go see a power plant. I want to go see the waterfall, and then hopefully talk to some people about building a power plant there. And sure enough, they already did it 5 years earlier, which is good.
Great.
It's great, they're great, you know what I'm saying? So new power plant. They said it just opened up maybe today. And Tanzania had a lot of power problems, so making a new hydro power plant, big thing. That's it.
Sorry about that. Couldn't find the mute button. Appreciate that, Oni. Last but not least, I guess Black Seal left early, but last but not least, Juan, what you like to shout out that's positive this week?
Oh, shout out to this as well. Pan African Men's Fellowship is what I call it from time to time. I know the sisters do listen, and when they're ready, they contribute. But shout out to the fellowship. You know, sometimes we need to talk amongst each other. For the African brothers, if they feel like I was offending them in any way, you know, you know, forgive me if I was kind of talking kind of strong, but I was just expressing my opinions. But it's no love lost. It's all respect to the African brothers who possibly was listening on the panel. Also, I got to shout out once again. I got to shout out Matron again. She's almost finished with the Marcus Garvey book she is reading. I appreciate her efforts in doing what she is actually doing. It's a monumental work, and that's something that we should support. It's very important, you know, as men. Lastly, let me say shout out to the Blues. Shout out to the freaking Blues. You know what? Like I say, one of my favorite artists is Corey Harris, and the other brethren, I forget his name now. I can't remember. He sang Catfish Blues, but shout out to the Blues. One of the best musical genres that's created by African people in North America. Some of the best music you ever could listen to. So shout out to that as well. You know, Smokestack Lightning. That's one of my favorite songs, by the way. You know, but shout out to the brothers, you know, for contributing tonight, man. I'll end it there.
Shout out to Kebo Mo too.
Yeah. Man, y'all tell Oni to start making bigger books, man. That Pro Black Compendium, man, what it got about like 12 pages in it?
Pages, he asking $50 for it. It's $50 for 12 pages.
Hey, Oni, I got the book. It ain't. I mean, the book about that big. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, the Book of Power? That book is
not the Book of Power. Not the book. Hey, I was wrong. Not the Book of Power, but see, I got the Pro Black Compendium.
Yeah, but you said make bigger books. That was the next book I made. It was huge, man. That jug.
That Pro Black Compendium, all of them little pages in that book.
I couldn't even put my suitcase on the airport because they was like, "Yo, your bag's too heavy."
That other book, man. Because the one I got, man, it had like because it was like $12.50.
But 12 pages of photocopies, like some Nubian book. It's like a Dr. Young book.
Hey, all the other book was $50. I could afford it right there.
Is it what?
I said I couldn't afford the other book. I'm gonna get it next week though, man.
That book huge, man. That book is big. I'm about to write a smaller book, low key.
Yeah, that book was $50, man. I said, God damn, okay. I said, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it next week though.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean the Book of Power. I'm gonna get the Book of Power next week though.
That's the book. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Stop making these Malachi York books.
Yeah, I got the Pro Black Compendium now, but I'm gonna get the Book of Power next week.
Yeah, I was a little short. Yeah, I feel you. I'm working on my fourth book. Hopefully, but yeah, that's it.
I say only put some more pages in there, man.
Nah, this big book you ain't look. I don't know if you can finish it, man. I think it's actually bigger than Blueprint.
Yeah. Well, we got about 400-500 pages then.
Yeah, it got 500 pages. It's big. It's huge, man.
500 pages. I need to get that book too. I need to get that book. What's it? The Book of Power?
Yeah, it's huge, man. It's huge. It's
the Book of Power. Yeah, that's a good book.
It's even like I got it the size of a laptop. Like like
really?
Height of a laptop, but then it's like 500 pages. So it's just big.
I got a back. I seen another partner, man. He got the book, but I got to get one of my own because he won't never let me keep it at the house. So I got to get mine.
Man.
Yeah. I hope it's not a book of photocopies, like pictures like Malachi Z. York books and shit.
I looked through it. It was pretty good, man.
10 pictures of myself, obviously. I'm joking.
Hey, boy, I looked through it. It was pretty good, man. I looked through it. Like I say, he wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me bring it on, but I looked through it though. Yeah, but it's $50 though.
I support
it might be more than that.
No, I support the brothers. I waiting for Zuli to come up with his next movie right now. You know, I support the brothers, man, in their endeavors. I support the brothers.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it next week. Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Same time,
All right.
same place, 8 Eastern Standard Time. Good conversation. As Trigger Happy in the chat said, great show. You guys be good. I'll see you next week. Peace.
Man, y'all.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.